The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for July 26, 2026. This is season 15, episode number 80, and episode number 594 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Oh, and by the way, it is the final episode. It is absolutely 100% the final episode, and that's all I've got to say about that. Am I right, Taylor?
Final episode of this season.
Oh, of this season. That's right. This is the final episode of season 15. That's right. When we come back to you sometime in August, it'll be season 16 of the Power Play Post Show because, and the really cool thing about this is when we do record another episode in August, we'll be closer to the start of the season than we were to the end of last season for the FPHL and the Binghamton Black Bears. So that's a pretty cool thing, and that's why I change over seasons sometime in August. So, hello, everyone. I am your host, Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And, Taylor just got back from vacation, and I just got about 25 minutes of how vacation went. But Taylor, for everybody out there, can you sum it up in maybe just a couple minutes? How was vacation?
It was really fun. You know, the OBX is definitely got a special place in my heart for the sunrises alone. I could probably just live off of that. And just in the last couple years, I've been really good at finding sea glass, which has become another love of mine.
Yeah.
And then to end this year, I found a shark tooth, which I've never found before, and I was very, very excited about it.
Now,
my brother may or may not have called me some names because of it.
Do you do anything with the sea glass?
I haven't done any. I've considered it because I've had a couple of people say that I should.
Right.
In the past couple years, because I haven't really found, a ton. I usually I buy a shadow box, a smallish one. I put a picture of a sunrise that I've taken over vacation, and then I put the sea glass in the bottom of it. So it's kind of like I remember that year for that reason. That's the sea glass that I got type of thing. So it's kind of like a way for me to remember each vacation that I go on.
And where you guys go, because I remember us talking about this last year, I think, there's horsies, real live wild horsies that are on the Outer Banks that can just roam and go anywhere they want, right?
Yeah, and the one, I don't remember if it was, I think it was the beginning of the week, the boys had gone out on a fishing trip, so that left my mother and I in charge of 5 children. So she stayed at the house so I could go get the sunrise. And on my way back, there were 2 clans of horses, 2 herds. And one was blocking the drive for me to walk in, and one was blocking the other side of the drive if I were to walk around. Mm-hmm. So I was literally stuck in between a rock and a hard place because I could not get back to the house. Didn't matter which way I tried going. So I kind of just had to sit there and watch one herd sleep in the middle of the road, and the other herd was pushing out a stallion that they didn't want. So they pushed that stallion into the other herd where the other stallion also pushed him out. So it was a lot of back and forth battle for about a good hour before one of the herds finally moved on and I was able to walk back to the house. But I love going when they have babies because, I get to watch the babies have zoomies and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really interesting to kind of see the horses, essentially take over the beach and the sand dunes and the way they run, and everybody gives them their space. It's definitely a really cool thing to see.
Now, Taylor, while you were gone, the Fed decided to basically dump out the garbage can of news releases all week long. I mean, literally every single day there was something while you were gone. And we are going to talk about a good portion of some of those in a future episode, right? Because they really pertain to, obviously, next season. We're doing that still in this episode as well, because we'll be talking about the schedule. The schedule has been released. We know who we're playing. We know the longest road trip. We know, which teams are going to come here, which teams we're just going to go to, and all those things how many times we were playing Watertown and Danbury. All that information is something that we're going to talk about today. But there was a lot of stuff, including division realignment, Taylor, and just your quick thoughts on this. The Black Bears will be in the Eastern Conference. They are doing conferences now in 2 divisions per conference, and the Black Bears are going to be in a division with Danbury, Blue Ridge, and Twin City. Your thoughts on that 4-team division, including those 4 teams?
I really like it. I like the way that they divided the teams up.
Me too.
Just even outside of just looking at our 4, kind of the way they went about it. It makes sense. And, dividing them up this way just makes it easier to not only play everybody in your own division, but to play the majority of other teams in other divisions as well, which I actually talk about in one of my points later on.
Okay, great.
But, yeah, I really enjoy it. I kind of like the thought of having Twin City in the same division as us, and even Blue Ridge, because I know that's definitely a salty part for you.
No, I just want to play them. I listen. When it comes to Blue Ridge, and there's even people who don't like me from Blue Ridge who agreed with me that all we want to do is play each other because there was heat, and you don't get over that until you play each other again. Like when we played against Danbury the first couple seasons here in Binghamton and Danbury acted like we were the big brothers from the AHL that came in and that they ruled the roost in the Fed, them and the Watertown Wolves, and that we shouldn't be challenging them. And they beat the living crap out of us for the first 2 years. But then Brant Sherwood created a team that said, no, Danbury, sorry, we're going to, bitch slap you like the AHL people or the city that's had hockey for 50 years as we are. And we put them in their place. And honestly, all Blue Ridge fans want, all Binghamton fans want, is the ability to do the same thing, which is literally just play against each other and see who really is the top dog. And those 3 games just wasn't enough 2 years ago. And now we're finally going to get more games against them. We'll talk about that in just a little bit because that's that. But I agree with you. I like the smaller divisions. I like that it's broken up in conferences. And that leads into how they're going to set up the playoffs as well. Again, future conversation for a future show that we'll get to talk about. But let's talk a little bit about the final season, or this final episode, not this final episode, but let's talk about the season 15 for a few minutes. Taylor, we had a lot of guests. We had a lot of people on the show, a lot of change here on the Power Play Post Show. A lot of things stayed the same. A lot of things changed as well. And why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you go through and read the guests that were on the show this season? Because I think I want the people who took out the time to come on this show. I really do appreciate it. I know you do as well. And then we'll talk about a few more things about this season. But go ahead and read the guests that were on this year.
So guests this season were Connor McAnanama, Cam Cervoni, Dylan Konechny, Sam Holy, Brant Sherwood, Andreas Johansson, Brooks Hill, Don Oliveri, Jacob Shankar, Mac Jansen, Jesse Anderson, Justin Coachman, Austin D'Orazio, CJ Stubbs, Emerson Emery, Cole Parenti, Jerry D'Amigo, John Quinville, Brian Lang, Brandon Shantz, Scott Romakers, Aiden Burchard, Yvonne Bondarenko, Dan Weber, Nick Swain, Will Wiggleman, Garrett Sargis, Chris Mott, Chicho Laughlin, Kyle Steffen, Everett Thompson, Dominic Tomei, Wyatt Friedlander, Mason Esworthy, Tyson Kirkby, Josh Fletcher, Lori Ann Platt, and Gary Ryan.
I don't think you took a breath throughout the whole thing. That was very impressive. I had some really favorite interviews. I loved doing all the interviews. And when I say favorite, I just mean some interviews kind of like just touch you a certain way differently than maybe just standard interviews. The interview I did with Chicho Laughlin was very special for me because if you know Cheech and you've talked to him, you know that words don't come out of him as well as maybe other people, and that's okay. He was amazing. He gave me so much time, and that was a lot of fun to do, and I was really glad to do that. The CMAC interview that I broke up into 2 parts, 100% was one of my favorite interviews to do, to talk to him, just to get him to open up. And it felt like because he wasn't with Binghamton anymore, he was able to open up a little bit better. John Quinville, I know that you were there for the second John Quinville interview, if I remember correctly, listening to some of it. You said that changed your thought process about John a little bit, which was pretty cool. I loved talking to Aiden. But the two interviews that I really want to talk about, and this leads me into highlights of the season of the Power Play Post Show for Bob and Taylor. So hopefully you've got a couple. But the first one that I want to talk about is you interviewing Scotty and Emery, because that is one of my big highlights of doing the show. I've never shared duties of interviewing anybody in all the years, even when it came down to the wrestling podcast that I did back in 99, 2000, 2001, nobody did the interviews with me. And you did the first, those are the first two that I've ever shared the duties with when you were there, Scotty and Emery. That is one of my big highlights of this past season.
Yeah, it was actually one of the ones that I wrote down too, was being able to do the interviews with Scotty and Emerson. And it's just being able, and kind of jumping on the John Quinville thing, even though I didn't speak at all, I was just kind of there listening.
You were listening, yeah.
It really kind of, it lets you into their life a little bit.
Yeah.
And it shows you that, because for the longest time, to me, hockey players were pretty much just that, hockey players. I didn't really think too much about, what goes on outside of them playing hockey and like what they are as people and, that kind of thing. And, being able to do these interviews and talking to these guys one-on-one, and especially, actually at the arena and, being able to do the back and forth conversation that we did, it just really kind of brings forth that mantra that Brent has instilled of, good guys first. And, every single person that you talk to that comes in and out of that locker room, they're just all around great people. And to get their stories and be able to talk to them, that kind of ththing was definitely one of the highlights for me.
Yeah. And, speaking about a couple other interviews, talking to Weber is always great. I just really love the connection that he and I have. One of the really cool things that happened this year, and this is not necessarily a highlight, but it's just something that warmed my heart. I guess it's a highlight, and I don't have this one written down, is when I went to the arena, I think it was practice or something, and D-Raz comes up to me and says, "Hey, I want to come back on the show again." I was like, "You do?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay, we'll get this worked out." And it took about a month to get him back on the show. But just the simple fact that he wanted to come back on and he asked to come back on, which is wicked, wicked cool. Now I could call up Cam Cervoni tomorrow and he'd record with me. I could call up Emery. I could call up Weber again, and they would just come on, which was pretty cool. But I didn't know D-Raz was really into it. He wanted to do another interview. He wanted to do a little bit more media. And I love that. I love the fact that I could be there for these guys a little bit, which is pretty cool. So, we had some great interviews. These were all great. Even the ones that are from people from other teams, Will Wiggleman, Everett Thompson, always fun interviews to do. And I'm so glad to have them. Justin Coachman, wow. I mean, he opened up, and that was another hour-long interview where we talked mostly about his career. And then he started talking about other aspects of the Watertown Wolves. And hopefully that situation up in Watertown just gets better, because I don't blame Justin and I don't blame the ownership. I really kind of blame the situation with what happened with them last year. It's hard. It's so easy for some people to go, "Oh, it's his fault," or point finger here, or point finger there. And you don't really know. There's this side of the story. There's this side of the story. And then there's a third side that's really the truth somewhere in the middle. Right. One other interview that I want to talk about was Brandon Chance went and had a shutout. He came on the Power Play Post Show, and he felt his career was complete, and he retired after that. I got to be honest with you guys. I've never had that happen before. Guy plays one game, gets a shutout, comes on the Power Play Post Show, boom, he's done. So to me, great moment for me this season. I want to give you my second highlight. My second highlight of the season, honestly, was the poster giveaway. Watching you develop it, put it all together.
I'm just laughing because that's also one of mine.
Well, I got to watch you develop it. You took my pictures, you put it together, you created the poster itself. We went back and forth a little bit on a couple parts of the design. I think I showed it to my wife, Kim, and she said, well, make the border a little bit longer in case someone wants to put it in a frame. Boom, you were able to do that in less than, I don't know, a day. You had that all taken care of, and because it made sense to you as soon as we said it and everything. The poster giveaway, the engagement with the fans, the pictures, all that kind of stuff was just the poster giveaway. Another big highlight of the season for us, or for me at least.
Yeah, I said the posters as well as kind of having that fan interaction and being able to give them the pictures. And, everyone was just so excited about it. Even when they weren't the winners, they were like, oh, I can't wait to try next week. Or I can't, hopefully, next week's I'll be able to win and that kind of thing. So, nobody was ever negative about it, which was awesome.
Right.
And then, on top of that, getting the pictures from the fans after they, either their kid went and got the picture with their player that they had won their poster from. And, the players were also happy about it and excited. And I guess kind of keeping tabs on, oh, this is my third one or, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting to kind of see that play out. And, I really enjoyed kind of guessing oh, I wonder what player they're going to pick and, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I really enjoyed the poster. I really enjoyed doing the posters and kind of going back and forth with you on the design and, what we liked, what we didn't like, and finally coming up with something that looked good and felt nice. So
have you thought about a new design for this upcoming season?
I haven't quite yet. I did towards the end of this last season, and then I got overwhelmed with the amount of ideas that I had that I stepped back because
you have to
So the way that this one happened for me was I thought about it because I always thought about the player cards and how everybody they had the player cards for that one game and sold out in the first intermission or probably even before the doors actually opened. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of thought about it and I kind of threw something out and it happened. So I prefer when things happen smoothly in that aspect than me trying to sit down and focus and do something because then it just never works out the way that I want it to. So I'm hoping something just hits me and I have a great design that comes up for this next season.
Well, obviously we won't start really the contest until a few weeks into the season. I got to take some more pictures, especially of a lot of the new guys. So you have a little bit of time to put that together, but I thought it was amazing. I thought it was awesome. And, hopefully we can give out more posters this upcoming season than we did this past year. It was such a great thing. The third thing that I put down here is the growth on all platforms. We grew the Power Play Post Show in a way that I didn't know was going to happen with Facebook, between the PPPShow Bob, where people could share all the same stuff that they see in the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Every single one of the podcasts platforms that we actually post on, which is Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, the podcaster, iHeartRadio, every single one of those numbers for every single one of those platforms went up, including the subscribers, how many people have subscribed. And it goes up a little bit during the summertime, inches a little bit here and there. And then I'm sure it'll grow again when we start back up full time in October. But to me, that was a highlight because I got to see that growth because of all the hard work that you and I were doing from all the articles that we were writing and putting into the Power Play Post Show Facebook group, which if you're listening to this show and you're not a part of the Power Play Post Show Facebook group, you really should be, because when the season gets going and we start putting more stuff in there especially on game days. Game days are our biggest hit. You're going to get a game day preview. You're going to get Taylor's thoughts the next day about the game and the impact players. You're going to get, if you can't go to the game and you can't listen or watch online for some reason, you'll be able to go there and see everything written out that I saw during the game, in a game day recap, which is so very cool. So there's so much stuff there and we've grown it so much. It's just, to me, that's been one of the big highlights for me. Did you have any other highlights?
Yeah, I had a final one. It's pretty sappy, so just bear with me.
All right. I'll get my Kleenex and let me get a tissue.
My final one is just kind of it feeling like I'm a part of something more than just being a hockey fan.
Oh,
Because I used to, before I was a part of the show, I used to post random stats and random this
you
and random,
did.
like, how many player, like the amount of penalties versus the amount of game. Like I just used to post random stuff all the time. And, so now actually like, I go to practice and John Quinville knows my name and shouts up to me. And, I can interview some of the players and actually go down to the player corner and people know who I am. And so many family members know who I am. And people recognize me when I'm talking as they're walking down the street because they recognize my voice. So it's one of those things where I never, again, thought that something like this would ever happen. And it definitely makes me feel like I'm just part of something a lot more than being a hockey fan.
You are definitely a part of it. When I went over to the I went over to the arena on Wednesday or Thursday. I can't remember which day. I think it was Thursday to record with Brooks. He said, "Is Taylor joining us for the interview?" I said, "She's in the Outer Banks. She don't want to have anything to do with Binghamton, New York right now. Absolutely not." And everything. But it's just another person that asked if you were going to be a part of the interview. You were definitely accepted. You were definitely welcomed into this family, 100%. And it is sappy because I love it. I love the fact that this means that much to you because it means that, and I don't know how, if I can say this the right way. It means that the right person came to me somehow because I really wanted help with the site. I wanted help with the show to make the show better for everyone else. And one of the greatest compliments I've ever gotten about bringing you on the show was when a woman comes to me and says, "Thank you for having Taylor on. So I have somebody that sounds like me talking about the team." To me, that's one of the best compliments I can ever get. It means I picked the right person who, first of all, can talk about as much as I can, which is awesome. And it's hard to get everything in under like a 58-minute timeline, which we never hit anymore. But it's great because there are people out there that love that you're on the show because of who you are. And to me, that's the greatest thing.
Yeah, I definitely, it's been a roller coaster of a ride, and not even like the ups and downs, because I feel like we've had very little downs, except when we complain about having to talk about Watertown over and over again. But hey, that should change this season.
Yay!
It's definitely been so much fun, and I've enjoyed every aspect of it. And I'm still not used to people knowing who I am. It still kind of takes me back, or when they talk about the show. And I seriously do forget sometimes that people are actually listening to what you and I are saying.
Yeah, I know.
And it's pretty funny that every time we do a show, you're like, "Oh, well, we kept it under this amount." And I just start laughing because we do talk and we talk a lot, but people are still listening and they still, they enjoy the show and they enjoy the back and forth between us. So hey, if it's working, it's working.
100%. I totally agree. All right. So thank you to all the fans for listening, engaging with us, commenting, saying hello, and taking pictures with either myself or Taylor. One of the really cool things as well, we got our picture taken with the hype man up in Watertown when he was here in Binghamton. There's things like that just are very cool things for us. I remember 2 years ago, it's just someone coming up to you and asking for your autograph. Those type of things mean a lot to us. They really, really do. They mean a lot to Taylor, and they mean a lot to me as well. So now that we're done with the sappy part of the show, okay, season 15 was great on many reasons. This is the 80th episode during season 15. I've never hit that mark ever in a season of the Power Play Post Show, having 80 episodes. And we're not talking about, folks, 80 episodes that are 15 minutes long. These are 80 episodes that have either an interview or have some length to them where we're talking and giving you the most information and commentary and talk show that you could ever get for a fed team. We are definitely the cream of the crop when it comes to that. I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder on that, and so should Taylor. We really do the best that we can for the fans. But we're going to move on. We're going to move on because we got a schedule to talk about. And after we get through the must reads, I'm going to throw a little bit of dig on Taylor here for a second. And she's going to find out what that dig is here. Now she's going to be thinking like, what the hell is he talking about? But The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Now, join the conversation on Facebook. Search for the Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Be sure to like, comment, and share our latest episodes with your friends. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. And coming up on this edition of the Power Play Post Show, our full interview with Binghamton Black Bears broadcaster and director of media relations, Brooks Hill. A whole 58 minutes that we had conversation with Brooks. Brooks and I don't do short ones. We just don't, ever.
So what you're saying is this isn't going to be under 3 hours?
It'll be under 3 hours. We'll make it under 3 hours. Don't worry. We got a lot to talk about. But we come on. We're only at 25 minutes right now, so we're doing good. We're moving along.
Power Play Post Show fans, do us a quick favor. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the show. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're following the podcast and leave us a rating. It's completely free to do. It takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube and Spotify to push the show out to more Binghamton Black Bear fans and more hockey fans just like you. Drop a comment, too, if we read them, and we love hearing from you.
Okay, so about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, Taylor started picking on me, saying that she couldn't wait for the schedule to come out. When I knew that the schedule was coming out this past Friday, and I told her, I said, the schedule's coming out. She said, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear you blow up about the schedule, about how many times we're going to play Watertown or whatever it might be. She was like just a couple times digging at me about it. Well, guess what? I like this schedule. I do, Taylor. I'm sorry. I know you've looked at the schedule. I know you've seen it now. I like it. I just like it. I just wanted to start off the conversation, throwing a little shade at you, but also saying that I really do like this schedule. What about you?
I mean, I like it too. I was actually having, I know later on in the show, we kind of talked about our likes and dislikes of, how things are.
Yeah.
And I was actually having a really hard time coming up with dislikes, to be honest.
Me too. But I did.
I could have probably written a book about the likes that I enjoyed.
Yes.
But, things are moving in the right direction. You really wanted to win banner raising night. They did that for you.
Yeah.
You complained all season long about facing Watertown 17 times. So they changed that. See, they're
listening.
We're getting there slowly and surely.
They're listening to us. All right. So let's get into this so we can really dig into it. All right. The Federal Prospects Hockey League and the Binghamton Black Bears announced the 2026-27 56-game regular season schedule. This is the Black Bears' 6th season in the FPHL. That means I have to start talking to Andreas about, is he going to sign a new arena lease? Yeah, we got to get that conversation out there and find out what's going on there and when they're going to start talking to the county about getting the arena re-upped for another 3 seasons. And for the 3rd straight season, they will be starting off the season against the Watertown Wolves. The Wolves will travel down to the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena on October 10th for the Black Bears Championship banner raising. After the home opener, the Wolves and the Black Bears will face off against each other 10 more times in 26-27, seeing 6 games played in Binghamton, while 5 games will be played in Watertown Municipal Arena. Okay, Taylor, we're going to stop there for a second. To me, thank God, right? It's 11. It's 11 games, right? But at least 6 of them are in Binghamton, only 5 up in Watertown. To me, that's just so much better than last year, where we only played 4 games of the 17 in Binghamton, and the other 13 were up in Watertown. Clear, that's a win right there for me, for the fans, and for the players.
Yeah, that's what I was going to just say, is that we faced them 11 times total. And I'm pretty sure we faced them more times in Watertown as away games than we do the entire season upcoming. So, already better. And, just honestly, I think overall it's going to be so much better for everybody involved.
Yes.
Because the engagement will be better. You're not going to get bored. And it's just because I think that's kind of the problem that we ran into last year was, you faced them again and you're like, oh, because it just kind of became a thing of like, we pretty much knew what to expect.
Yeah.
And, as much as like that sounds like a bad thing, it's the truth though. Like you went up there, they came down here, you kind of knew what was going to happen. And it was just one of those things where at least this year, like they have a different coach, everybody's very excited about that. So I truly hope like things are looking up for them. But I'm just, so happy that we don't have to face them so many times.
Because Binghamton fans, Binghamton players, Brant Sherwood, Taylor and Bob, we want better competition. Right? Like winning all but 3 games against Danbury and Watertown last year. I mean, that out of 33 games, and I think we only lost 3. I mean, better competition. I mean, I would take if those games, if we had to play 33 games against them this year, I would think, and it's not that I want Binghamton to lose. I just want better competition. I want. You don't want the 10-3 blowouts. Right. I want it closer.
Don't get me wrong, blowouts are, they're awesome to have from time to time. But when it's like you face the team 17 times and 16 of those times you blow them out, it's just it's no fun anymore.
It's not. Okay. The Wolves and the Black Bears will end the season on Friday, April 16th, and Saturday, April 17th in Binghamton, just before the start of the FPHL's Commissioner Cup playoffs. Now, Taylor, what's unique about April 16th and April 17th that maybe you didn't think about, that hopefully maybe I just triggered something for you by saying there's something unique about that?
Oh, you got me because...
Okay. This season is 1 week longer than the last few seasons. They're ending the season in the third week of, almost the third week. You're entering into the third week of April, where usually they end the week before, which would be like the 10th or the, not the 10th. Yeah, the 10th or the 9th. They usually don't end that third weekend in April. So that's very interesting to me. Of course, it's against Watertown again, but whatever. I think I'm reading the next one, right? Yeah. With the Black Bears now in the newly formed Eastern Conference and Atlantic Division with Danbury Hat-Tricks, Blue Ridge Bobcats, and Twin City Thunderbirds, the FPHL has scheduled the Black Bears against their division rivals as well. The Black Bears and the Hat-Tricks will face off 11 times this season, better than the 16 from last year. And the first time on Friday, October 30th, before completing a home-and-home series on Halloween on October 31st in Binghamton. So there you go. There's a Halloween game in Binghamton, which is pretty cool. All 11 meetings will happen between the two rivals between October 30th and January 22nd, I believe it is. I wrote that wrong. It's not the 20th. It's actually the 22nd, when the two teams will meet in Binghamton on a Saturday night. So that tells you right there that from basically the end of October to the middle part, almost to the end of January, we're going to face Danbury 11 times. But then after that, no more Danbury going the rest of the year. What are your thoughts on having Danbury 11 games within just, really about 2 months? Maybe 3. I guess it's almost like 2.5 months. We get Danbury 11 times, and then we don't see him again until for the rest of the season.
I mean, that's very interesting to me. I don't know if I like that or not. I don't know exactly how I feel, because your first side of it, because kind of the way that I looked at facing Mid-South towards the end of the season, I was like, it kind of lets both teams get established some, so you're kind of really going to face them hopefully at their strongest,
right? And
so to not face Danbury in the second half of the season, if you will, just seems weird to me. It's definitely going to be strange to not see Danbury after January.
Yeah.
So that'll definitely be interesting, but we'll still have Watertown in there a little bit. So I guess that might make up for it.
And I think we get Twin City, 6 times, 4 times down in Twin City and only twice up in Binghamton, which isn't too bad. And then Blue Ridge, really kind of one of the things that I wrote, and we'll talk about again in a little bit. We faced them 5 times. And that's the least amount in our division. And only 1 time in Binghamton and 4 times down in Blue Ridge. And we can talk about that in a little bit if you want to. Do you have thoughts on how many times we're playing Twin City and Blue Ridge?
Not really. I like, facing Twin City more. I feel like we kind of gradually start working our way towards that. I feel like each year we kind of get like a game added here and there. So I like facing Twin City. I've always enjoyed facing them. It just seems like we never have like serious issues when we face Twin City compared to, yes.
No drama.
I kind of wish Blue Ridge was kind of more, either we faced them another time and had another game up here type of thing.
Yeah.
But I am happy that at least once they're going to come up to us.
I kind of wish that they'd taken the game. So I think the weekend that they come up here for one game, the other game they're playing in Danbury. I kind of wish that we took away one of the Danbury games for us, and we played them only 10 times. And then we got Blue Ridge for that second game in Binghamton. To me, then you're playing Blue Ridge 6 times, twice up here, 4 times down there, and I could live with that. The one thing that irks me about this schedule, and it's the thing that just probably irks me a little bit more than it should, is that we only get one game against Blue Ridge in Binghamton.
Yeah, I like weekend stints where you're going to play one team for the weekend. I don't like weekend stints where, you're going to go to this team for this night. So like going to Port Huron to face them and then driving that night to go face Motor City the next night. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of those types of games just because I feel like it's so much harder for all the teams involved, but especially the team that's traveling. So it makes you wonder, like, are you getting their best because they played a game, then they have to, their equipment manager, poor equipment manager has to wash all their stuff, dry all their stuff, get everything ready and drive to the next arena. And it just, it seems like a hassle to do that kind of stuff. So for that reason, I kind of wish we did have like a weekend stint with them in Binghamton, just because I feel like we would get their full attention. Because part of me wonders, like, is their attention going to be focused on us or is it going to be focused on Danbury?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what their rivalry is like with Danbury. They seem like very similar. So, and I mean, theirs and Port Huron seem to go pretty good with each other. So I'd wonder how theirs is with Danbury. So
it'll be interesting to see. All right, let's carry on with this.
The Black Bears will meet the Blue Ridge Bobcats 5 times this season, with the only matchup, of course, in Binghamton, as we've already talked about, on Saturday, January 23rd. Rounding out within the Atlantic Division is 6 meetings with Twin City Thunderbirds, which the Black Bears will make 2 separate trips to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, for a 2-stint game. The Black Bears also play every team in the Eastern Conference Great Lakes Division, playing 8 games versus the Port Huron Prowlers, 6 games versus the Motor City Rockers, and 2 games versus the Indiana Sentinels, and the 4-mentioned 11 games against the Watertown Wolves.
Okay, so Taylor, let's talk about this for a second, because of those 8 games with the Port Huron Prowlers, I believe 6 of them are here in Binghamton. 2 of them are in Port Huron.
I know, I'm so excited.
That is nuts. I can tell you right now, the Port Huron fans are not happy about that.
Oh, that's what's exciting for me. That when I saw that, because you have your little graph that shows you the games against who, the home and away. Oh, I was staring at that for so long because I was like, Port Huron has to come out here 6 times. Their fans are they're gonna hate us.
Yeah, it's gonna be 3 different trips, but 6 freaking games against us here in Binghamton.
I'm so excited.
Which is great. Now the Motor City Rockers, I just actually scrolled down to that graph a little bit. Motor City Rockers will play them again 6 times, but only twice will they become here in Binghamton. I hope that's a trip that does have Dakota Bond and Connor Smith on the roster for it. I don't know if they're going to travel. Sometimes Motor City in the past, now this is the past, I don't know if the new head coach, the new owner is going to allow that now, but in the past, some guys who can't travel because of work or commitments haven't traveled. So I'm kind of worried that Connor and Dakota don't come out to Binghamton, but I really want to see them at least for those 2 games that Motor City's in Binghamton. I do wish, to be honest with you, somehow that, maybe there was, 2 more games. I don't know. Just split it up a little bit differently. I don't like the unbalanced home versus away for Motor City and Port Huron. I'm just saying that as a hockey person, not necessarily a Binghamton fan. As a Binghamton fan, I love the fact that Port Huron has to be out here 3 times and play 6 games. As a fan, I love it. As a hockey person, as an analyst, I'm like, God, I wish this was more balanced because I like the balanced stuff. Like with Danbury and Watertown, we get them 6 times, they get it 5 times. I'm okay with that. That's as balanced as you can get when you have 11 games, right? I mean, you can't mix up the bag any other way, right? But with our other big rivals are going to be Port Huron, they're going to be Motor City, and they're going to be Twin City, and yet it seems to edge the other way or this way, and I really kind of wish it was a little bit more balanced in that sense. But I'm okay. It's like. That's the least of my worries.
I mean, I somewhat agree, but at the same time, I'm so happy that Port Huron has to come out here because I truly think that they feed off of their fan base when they're at home, and you can sense that even when you're watching the game from your couch, you can just sense that the team feeds off of their fans. And I think they get a whole different experience when they're here in Binghamton. I think they kind of feed off of our fans too.
Sure.
But I don't think it's to their benefit.
No, probably not.
I actually think it gets them in trouble more than it helps them. So that's why I'm so excited about it.
I agree.
Highlights from the schedule see the Mid-South Monarchs and a few familiar faces as in Mac Jansen, Tyson Kirkby, and Cam Cerrone, and Emerson Emery returning to the arena on February 26th and 27th. The Black Bears will also play host to the Baton Rouge Kingfish in the team's only 3 games and 3 night series of the season on November 13th, 14th, and 15th, a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday affair. I need to not take a week off because, man, am I struggling. I am excited that we see Mid-South, later in the season.
Really?
I am kind of sad that it's only, that 1 game stint.
2 games.
I am because... Well, they come up here for a weekend.
Yes.
I wish we faced them more times while they're down there. Up here, I do kind of wish that, just because I would really love to see, more than just 2 games against them. But yeah, I'm happy that it's further in the season because, once you October to me is kind of like a wash month. Like everybody's got to get their legs back. Everyone's trying to figure out working together and, just that type of thing. So I let October slide and I don't really focus too much on, the things that happen because, a lot of players are going to move around and that type of thing.
Sure.
So, when you're in February, you're really kind of coming into that crunch time, especially towards the end of February.
Yeah.
So I think the teams are hopefully going to be, what you could see during the playoffs. And I think we could have some really good games.
That's fair. Now, I was wishing for an opening weekend against Mid-South just because I wanted somebody different than Watertown. So, I mean, I was trying to will it into existence. I was trying to wish it into existence. Obviously, it didn't happen. And that's okay. I realized that nobody really wants to do a big trip like that on their opening weekend, whether you're away or home. Probably nobody really wants that big of a kind of a hike because you never know what kind of hockey you're going to get.
The Black Bears will host their traditional holiday games with the Hat Tricks coming to town on Wednesday, November 25th, the night before Thanksgiving. Also on the schedule is the only Thursday evening game for the Black Bears on New Year's Eve, December 31st, against the Watertown Wolves. At home, the Black Bears will play the majority of their games on Friday and Saturday nights, seeing 10 home affairs on Fridays and 14 bouts on Saturday nights. With the last year's schedule seeing the Black Bears only playing 7 different opponents, the Black Bears will face off against 10 different opponents this season. The longest homestand for the Black Bears will be a 4-game series from February 19th to February 27th, which leads into the longest away stretch, 7-game stretch from March 5th to March 20th, which will have the Black Bears going to Michigan to play against the Motor City Rockers, down to Winston-Salem, North Carolina to face against the Twin City Thunderbirds, leading to a 3 games and 4 nights versus the Wolves in Watertown.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting stretch for the Black Bears in March. 2 games against Motor City or in Wyandotte, Michigan, which is just below Detroit. Then they're going to come home. Then they're going to go down to Winston-Salem for 2 games against Twin City. And then when they come back, they'll probably be back Sunday afternoon or so. Well, then they have Monday off because Brant usually gives the team Monday off. Practice on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, they'll go up to Watertown for the first game. Come back Wednesday night, practice on Thursday, and then they got to go back up to Watertown on Friday, probably spend the night in Watertown, play against the Wolves on Saturday night, and then come home. Tough trip. Tough.
I mean, the good thing about that is, even though it's, an away stretch, 3 of them are against the Wolves, and a lot of Binghamton fans travel.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's a good way to kind of end a long away stretch. So, it might work out for them.
Agreed.
In the 6-year history of the Black Bears, this might be the most diverse schedule the Black Bears have seen, and should keep the fans' interest throughout the season and entertained for the quest to a 4th straight Commissioner Cup championship, which I do 100% agree with, because I know towards, like the middle, towards the end of last season, when you were going against the Wolves again, or Danbury again, people just weren't that interested in watching the game. So I truly think, the schedule, the different teams not facing Danbury and Watertown for more than half of your season, I think it's going to be good for everybody involved, as far as the team and the fans and just, the other opponents, honestly.
100%. I mean, listen, I had a hard time writing about it near the end. I really did.
I think we all did. You and I think people got sick of me of saying, Ivan Bondarenko had a 20-point night, and, he had, 1 goal and 19 assists. And, just every game I was, I felt like I was saying the same thing.
And we love Bondo. We love Bondo. I mean, we really do. We really love this guy. But it's just like, oh my gosh, give us something a little bit more.
How much could we say about him?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, really, it's crazy. All right, important notes from the schedule. The Black Bears will play 10 different opponents, again, 3 more than last season. Blue Ridge, Columbus, Motor City back on the schedule. Black Bears play every team in the Eastern Conference. Only 1 game at home versus Blue Ridge, okay? Only 11 games each versus Watertown and Danbury. I think those are very important things to bring up here. I think the schedule overall is just really balanced for us in some ways, maybe not balanced in the home and away type of things, but still very well balanced. Taylor, let's do the 3 positive thoughts on the schedule. Give me your number 3.
Well, I mean, we've kind of already talked about this, so it just feels like beating a dead horse at this point, is that we don't play Danbury and Watertown almost 20 times apiece, because that was definitely just rough. And when I saw the schedule come out and, you post the graph about how many times we actually play them, it's just nice to look at that number and not see that it's more than, it's just 11. I can be okay with 11.
Yeah. All right. My number 3, Taylor, is all former players will play in Binghamton if all will travel with Mid-South and Motor City, right? And to me, that's the best thing for the fans. The fans get to see Tyson again, or Emerson Emery, or Cam Cervoni, who these guys, these fans make such a strong relationship and connection with, anyone, Mac Jansen, right? And then flip side, if Connor Smith and Dakota Bond come back, I mean, there's a lot of people that will be happy about that as well. So for me, they could have given us games against Motor City, but not in Binghamton. They could have given us games against Mid-South, but not in Binghamton. And I love the fact that of those 2 teams, I mean, yes, there are players that are going to play in the league that are elsewhere on other teams that are former Binghamton guys. But let's be honest, right? I mean, Tyson Kirkby, Mac Jansen, Emerson Emery, CC, Dakota Bond, who was a defenseman of the year 1 year, and Connor Smith, who just blew everybody away in that 1 season he played with Binghamton, helping them win their first Commissioner's Cup. These are guys that everybody's going to be happy to see back in Binghamton.
Yeah, and if Connor McAnanima has to come back to the FPHL for some reason, he's going to play in Danbury. So I had to say that. I'm just hoping that Steve's listening, because I can't wait for that message.
I don't think it's going to happen, Taylor. I don't think Connor would agree to go to Danbury, but maybe he would be closer to home.
I just want to see the look on Herm's face when he realizes that that's the guy that told him they couldn't, that, they said, you guys can't even beat us. And Connor just looked at him like, are you kidding me?
Really?
I really want to see the look on his face. That's all I really want.
Oh, okay. So Taylor, your number 2 positive remark about the schedule.
That Blue Ridge has to come to our barn, because, and I really do wish it was they were up here for 2 nights, but I like the fact that they have to come here because I know that weekend that we had down there was very rough for the players, for the fans, the coaches, everybody involved. I think the only person who might have not gotten in trouble would have been, Dylan Konechny, who's gotten in trouble in Danbury. So maybe he got the slide from Blue Ridge. Maybe, I don't know. I didn't see any mugshots of him from Blue Ridge, so he might have been okay there. But I'm happy that they're going to have to come to Binghamton because I'm hoping that they can see, the team in Binghamton, the fan base in Binghamton, and that we can show them like who we actually are. Because I feel like Binghamton, like the fan base, the team, the coaching, like everybody gets branded as this horrible monster and just we're bad people. And I don't feel like, I feel like every fan base has a couple of people that, they're not great or they might make comments online. And,
even Binghamton.
You have that everywhere.
Yes.
But I feel like as a whole, like how welcoming Binghamton is. And, and people come from, especially if you travel long distance to come watch your team play, like everybody's just so nice. So I'm truly hoping that when Blue Ridge has to come and if any of their fans come, they just get like overwhelmed with how nice everybody is in Binghamton. That I hope it puts a different like perspective on them. And
I hope they do come. I hope I'm
hope so too.
Like I really want people to come up from Wytheville and see our barn, see the type of organization that we are and what we've listen, this will be our 55th season, 54th season, I don't know, 55th season of pro hockey. We do things the right way. Come on up, see our hospitality, eat at our restaurants, stay in our hotels. We do things the right way. We have a hotel right across the street from the arena, for Christ's sakes, that a lot of people stay at. So come up, please. See that we're not the evil monsters that everybody in Wytheville thinks that we are, because we're not. We're certainly not.
I think the only thing that's going to hurt people coming, unless they're coming for the entire weekend to follow them to Danbury, is that So I think that could hurt the traveling part if people don't want to go to Danbury.
Which is too bad.
Travel to Danbury. So I think that part could hurt, but I truly do hope that people can make it and people do come.
And shame on Andreas for not requiring that to be 2 games against Blue Ridge, because again, I think what people are going to misunderstand about what to expect when it comes to Blue Ridge and Binghamton, and we're going to talk about Blue Ridge and Binghamton a lot more this season. I don't think it's going to be crazy like hatred and all this vile stuff like it was in those first 3 games, or really honestly the last game when everything broke down, and then the week or a couple weeks afterwards where everybody was going at each other's heads on Facebook and stuff. That I don't think is going to happen. There's been so much time that's been passed. I do wish there was games last year so it could have been settled by now, or
broken that up.
Yeah, exactly. But the league didn't do that. And then this year the league, gives us 5 games on only 1. And I think they missed an opportunity there. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a little bit. My number 2 positive remark about the schedule is Columbus is back on the schedule. They were not on the schedule last year. And even though it's only for 2 games, Columbus and Jerome Bouchard, the head coach there, who Brant absolutely loves, and everybody saw the video. And Brant did that video because he loves Jerome Bouchard. And I mean that sincerely. There is a relationship and a mentorship that Brant talked about in the video that is so true. And it's a great test for the Binghamton Black Bears to play against as many good teams as they can. And I think the league's going to improve this year, Taylor. I think the players, everything is just going to get a little bit better this year. I think for the league, even more so than last year, and even a couple years before that. The league just gets better. But to have teams, like I think Mid-South's going to be good, so having them on the schedule is great. I think Motor City could be good. We already know Port Huron's good. I think Watertown's going to be improved because of the new head coach and the players that he's bringing in, and the structure that he's going to have up there in Watertown is going to help there. Danbury, I don't know yet. I'm on the fence on whether or not they're going to be better this year than they were last year. They haven't really made any moves that have impressed me yet, but we'll see, right? I mean, we still got 2 more months of signings for all teams to do. But Columbus is always good, and I want to see that. We get more Twin City games. We get, 5 games against Blue Ridge, and we know Blue Ridge is going to be tough to play against. These are going to be teams that are going to test the Binghamton Black Bears. So having Columbus back on the schedule is a good thing to prove the credibility of how good this organization is, whether Brant Sherwood is coaching them or not. This is going to be a great test for us. And if he's not coaching them, John Quinville is going to be the coach. And if you don't think a guy who's played games in the NHL and worked with some of the best people in hockey can't coach a team of rookies and veterans to make them win, you're going to be wrong on that. But having Columbus back on the schedule, even though it's only 2 games, that's a positive to me. Let's go to your number 1.
That the schedule doesn't feel monotonous like it did last season. I feel like breaking up the league into 4 divisions helped you play more teams.
Yeah.
We went from not playing every team in our own division to playing almost every team in 3 divisions.
Yeah.
So like for our division, the Atlantic division, we had us, Danbury, Blue Ridge, and Twin City. We face all of them.
Yep.
The Great Lakes division, we face the Rockers, the Sentinels, the Prowlers, and the Wolves. In the Delta division, we play the Monarchs, Baton Rouge, and Columbus. So the only team we don't face from them is Monroe.
Yeah.
So almost 3 divisions, we are facing just about every team compared to last season where we didn't even face everybody in our own division. So I truly like that they broke up the divisions, and it's just, you're facing a lot more, and it's a lot more diverse. And just, I was definitely over facing, Watertown and Danbury for more than half the season. And I think everybody else was too.
Taylor, let me ask you one question. Did we talk about our choices here for positive or negative before we started the show?
No.
Did we have any conversation over the last 48 hours about who we were going to pick when it came to these questions here?
No, I think the only message that I sent you was that you gave me slight homework,
yes.
But I was having a really hard time thinking about it. No. It was slight homework that was making me think a lot, I think, is the only message I had sent to you about it.
That's fair. My number 1 is variety. 10 different opponents versus only 7 last year, less Watertown 11 and less Danbury 11. I am 100% on the same page with you. You are on the same page as me. Variety, diversity, whatever you want to call it. I used variety. You used diverse. Listen, just playing, more teams. And I'm glad you picked up on that. The only team that we don't play in the 1 division is Monroe. Obviously, we don't play any of the West teams, including Topeka and or Minnesota and the California teams. But, man, this schedule feels so much better. It's less monotonous, like you said. This is just going to be a much better season for us to cover the team just because we're going to see other teams coming in. And listen, we love watching the Binghamton Black Bears. We wouldn't be doing this if we didn't. But, man, seeing that Wolves logo so many times was just so hard. So, excellent. Listen, I agree 100% with your top choice. I think it was a great list. Let's get into the negatives. Let's get in. Let's be honest with people, right? Because not every schedule is going to be perfect. But this one, Taylor, we can both agree this is 100 times better than last year, right?
Oh, definitely. I even told you, I had a hard time coming up with my dislikes. And they're not even so much dislikes about the schedule or anything like
almost,
that.
Right? It's
yes.
Nitpicking. We're nitpicking here. We're looking for something negative to say because people want to hear negative sometimes. It's so weird. It's like I asked my wife once, I was like, you watch a lot of true crime TV. I was like, is it because you like the crime or what is it? How are you entertained by watching so much death on television? And she couldn't give me an answer on it. It's like driving by and seeing a car accident and your head still just turns. You're driving the car and yet you're turning your head and everything. You just can't stop watching. Okay, what is your number 3 negative thought on the schedule?
That we don't play the Minnesota team because I would have loved to have seen their jerseys up close in Binghamton. And that's simply because I love the Northern Lights. And I love how they kind of incorporated that into their design on their jerseys.
That's fair.
Even though I'm not a fan of the color purple, but I love the Northern Lights. So
right.
I really like their jerseys.
Great pick. All right. Number 3 for me was march on the road to Motor City, Twin City, and then Watertown for 3 games and 3 nights, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I think that's going to be the toughest part of the schedule. I know it's nitpicking to say it. I think it's going to be a great test for the Binghamton Black Bears. We'll see how they get through that. It'll be something that we'll talk about as we get closer to March of 2027, right? Because we're in 2026 now. Yes, 2027. As we get closer, we'll talk about that 7-game on the road trip. But to me, it's nitpicking to say it. But to me, it's the one thing that's like, wow, that's a tough spot on the schedule.
Yeah, a nitpicking one for me was I would have liked to have seen the California teams come further out.
Yeah.
I know, so 2 of them do. Stockton goes to Danbury and Oceanside goes to Twin Cities. So they do hit our division.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like I wish they would have come out, either more or, more this way.
Sure.
Maybe not specifically our division, but and I totally get why. I mean, I understand the travel and all of that, but I think it would have been interesting to see, the California teams kind of taking us on out here. I think it just would have been interesting to see.
Okay, so the next 2 should be very predictable for me. But my number 2 is I really just wish it would have been somebody else, but starting the season again against the Watertown Wolves, anyone but the Wolves. I just don't want to see them on opening night. Now, again, the last 2 seasons, they beat us one night on banner raising ceremony night, and then we beat them, thankfully. So Taylor didn't have to hear about it for a full season last year. But man, it's just like, even if it was Danbury, because we had 2 home openers against Elmira. Like, we haven't even seen Danbury on opening night except for the first season, I believe it was. No, that was Watertown. No, it was Danbury. Like it could have been Danbury. I would have been happy with Danbury. Hell, if you're only going to have us play 1 game against Blue Ridge, make that on opening night. Oh, that would have been awesome, right? Them having to watch us.
That would have been awful.
No, it would have been great for us. Maybe not great for them, but it would have been great for us, right? First game, they come up. They're going to be amped up. They would give us a really good game on opening night. Anyone but the Wolves. It's like, come on. So I'm going to have to ignore that part of the game and just concentrate on the banner raising, playing with my new camera, seeing fans we haven't seen in a while. That's how I'm going to have to look at opening night, because for the love of God, I don't want to play against Watertown. All right. What's your number 1 complaint about the schedule?
It's not so much the schedule. In this one, it's very just nitpicky for me.
Okay.
I don't mind the Eastern and Western conferences as names, and I don't even mind Atlantic or Great Lake Division names.
Okay.
But I do not like Frontier or Delta. Frontier makes me think of Star Trek, and Delta makes me think of military. I don't have names that I think they should have gone with, so you'd have to check back with me at a later time. But I am not a fan of those 2 for the Western Conference division names. I just don't like it.
I think Delta has something to do with that Mississippi Basin. There's the Delta something there. I'm pretty sure there is a connection there. And Frontier, the last frontier of the United States was California, was getting out to California. So I get the names there. I don't know. I think that was a weak number 1 for you. That's a weak number 1. I'm not trying to pick on you, but that's a weak number 1.
No, I get it.
I think the names are okay.
If you hang out with my dad for a day, you'll understand. I can't think of Frontier without thinking Star Trek. So every time I see the name Frontier, all I'm going to think about is Star Trek, and I can't not.
Now, fans, I love Star Trek, so I can talk about Star Trek right now if you want me to.
I mean, I do too, but my dad just quotes everything. What were the little fuzzy things?
Tribbles.
I brought up. Oh, yeah,
Tribbles, yeah. The Trouble with Tribbles.
Trouble with Tribble, yep.
Yeah, great episode.
All the time. All the time.
Well, my number 1 is something that we've already brought up. We've already talked about, and I'm going to give you 1 guess to think about my biggest complaint, my biggest negative thought on the schedule. What is it?
Oh, I don't. your biggest complaint?
Yeah,
that we've already talked about.
You've already
mentioned Watertown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what your biggest complaint would be. Facing not having the evenness between Port Huron?
No. My biggest complaint, my number one negative, we only get one game against Blue Ridge in Binghamton. To me, that is a slap in the face to Binghamton fans, to Binghamton, the Black Bears. How that could happen, I have no idea. I think Andreas should be pissed off about it, and I think Andreas should have had well, wait a second here. Don't play us against Danbury, one of the games. Bring them here. Take one game away from their schedule with Danbury and bring them here. That's my thing. I think we should have played at least two games. I think it's a slap in the face to everybody involved in Binghamton that we only get one game against Blue Ridge in Binghamton, and they get four. That means that in 3 years, we've only faced them in 2 seasons, and 7 of the 8 games are going to be played down in Blue Ridge. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. There's my big complaint.
I mean, yeah, that does suck, but it's not as bad as not facing them at all.
No, I agree with that. I agree on that. But I when I looked at the schedule, and I was like, oh, there's Blue Ridge. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. Like, wait a second here. These are all away games for Binghamton. I was like, what the frick is going on here? I was like, really? You really listen to me, whoever made the schedule for the league. And I know Taylor really wanted me to blow up about this damn schedule. She thought the schedule was going to be worse than it was, and the schedule was actually kind of nice. And I was giddy about it. But are you kidding me? You're putting Binghamton back down in that hostile environment, and we don't know. Maybe it'll be better. Maybe, listen, I'm talking hypothetically here. Maybe we'll go down there and they will have roses all put out by the locker room for us. The guy who tried to attack one of our players and Brant Sherwood had to get involved. Maybe he'll come up and apologize to the team. Maybe,
Well, I'm pretty sure the biggest headache that was, a part of that whole issue that started everything.
Yeah.
Is nowhere to be near them. So I don't think we'll have to worry about, at least I'm hoping that we don't have to worry about, things getting started.
Yeah.
Because I know it was, 100% it was Wolf, and I don't even care about, throwing his name out there because he started everything. And even, Hussey, I hope he doesn't come back. I thought he was going to stop last year, and then he came back again. I truly hope he stays away because I feel like he's just a troublemaker too, but I really do hope that
maybe it's all in the
feel
past.
Like they have a similar style like Port Huron as far as they're very body against body and just very physical in their style of play,
trying to be rough,
and which is fine. But all the extra stuff that happened on the day that we weren't there was just absolutely crazy.
Yeah, that was insane.
Friday was so fun. It was a great game. We had a lot of banter back and forth with their fans, and it was just, we had a good time. And then Saturday things picked up and it was getting rough, and then we weren't there that Sunday, and definitely everything hit the fan apparently.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so fans, let's talk a little bit about the Matrix by day. I want to talk about this real quick. We have one Sunday game. That will be the game against the Baton Rouge Kingfish. That is a home game. We haven't had a home Sunday game in a long time, Taylor. So that'll be interesting. There are 3 games on Wednesday. Of course, the Thursday game, which will be the New Year's Eve game, but there are 3 games on Wednesday. 2 of them will be in Binghamton. Okay. 10 and 14 home games on Friday and Saturday. Very interesting. Again, when we look at the Matrix by teams, this is just a lot more diverse, much better, obviously. And then when we look at the Matrix by month, there isn't one month that's in double digits. Last year, there were 2 months that had 10 games in it. This year, everybody's, each month is 9 games or less. The only really rough looking one where it's not even in the month is obviously March, where we play only 2 home games in March and 7 away games. Now, I will say there are 10 games from February 1st to the end of the season. That is 2 more than last year. Remember how we had that conversation last year? Weren't sure if we were going to have a lot of sellouts. They pretty much sold out almost every single home game in the last couple months, which was very good, obviously, for the team. So that's a little bit better than it was. But we are front loaded, right? The first 4 months, October, November, December, January, is where a good portion of the home games are. So I think overall, Taylor, and I just want to get your final thoughts on this as well. I think overall the schedule is less monotonous. We've already mentioned that, but it's true. And just a little bit more balanced. And I think we're going to see a better competition this year than we did last year.
Oh, and that's kind of something that you and I have been preaching, especially all last season, is that you just you wanted more competition. Mm-hmm. And that's not so much to say like we want the Black Bears to lose by any means. No. But we definitely want to face more than 2 opponents for more than half the season, because that was just rough.
Yeah.
And everybody else in, the league was like, well, they're only facing Watertown and Danbury, and they're not doing the greatest this season. So how good could they possibly be?
Exactly.
And yeah, we still did make it to the end, and you do have to face other people to make it there. But I do kind of agree with them of like, well, yeah, we did face, and I don't want to say easy teams, but they just didn't give us much competition. And again, I'm not trying to be mean in saying that, but Danbury was struggling to, get a win against us, and they finally do. And it was like the greatest thing they could have done in the last couple of years. And then Watertown, same thing. They finally get a win on us, and they didn't celebrate like Danbury did, but it's still like they try so hard, and every other team in the league is, oh, well, if we face Binghamton, our only goal is to beat Binghamton. Like, we don't care about beating any other team. It's just, we need to beat Binghamton.
Can I just say, when you brought up the whole Danbury thing, it made me think about something. One of the really cool things that we learned last season was that John Quinville, after a game in Watertown where they'd scored 10 goals, went into a grocery store, a convenience store, and bought ice cream for the boys. It was the Burn Dairy.
It's the one right next to the arena.
Right.
You stop at a Burn Dairy when you go to leave.
And he goes in there and he buys ice cream. And frickin' Danbury has to go buy champagne because they finally beat Binghamton. Think about that. That's why we want the competition to be better. We don't want Danbury to celebrate like they did on our ice, because they did. They celebrated huge because that win came on home ice, and it was big. And I was looking over there going, holy shit. I mean, they're going to start a riot if they keep celebrating like that, right? Like they just won the championship. Like they got to go out and get into the bus and then pop the champagne. Whereas we win a game up in Watertown, 10 goals. And we hear the story later on that Quinville goes in, who loves ice cream apparently, right? That's another thing we found out about Quinville. He really likes ice cream. And he buys ice cream for the boys on the way back. That's a different culture completely. The Black Bears get rewarded for winning in a really cool way, 10-4 or whatever it was. I think it was 10-4 or 10-5 or something like that. And yet Danbury has to celebrate that hard because it took them a year and a half to get a win against us. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at the matrix by month and kind of laughing because for the home, it literally goes 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 2, 4. And it's just, to me, it's funny. I don't know why, but if only that March could have been another 5, that would have been hysterical. But that would, things would have been uneven then.
Yeah, it would have been uneven. Oh, yeah, you would have had to have taken it. But I would, that would have been kind of funny. All right, coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, because listen, after Brooks Hill, we've got a really cool thing to talk about, and I'm kind of glad we're getting to talk about that as well on this show. Gives a little bit of diversity, obviously, on the show, but it's going to be a really cool thing. Fans, you already know about it, but I want Taylor and I to give us our true thoughts and feelings about the thing that we're going to talk about when we come back right here on the Power Play Post Show. But coming up next here on the show is the broadcaster and, of course, director of media relations for the Binghamton Black Bears, Brooks Hill. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers.
Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Sitting here at the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena
And, well, I'm sitting here with former Broadcaster of the Year a couple years ago, right? And four seasons covering or calling games for the Binghamton Black Bears, going into your 5th season unless the Carolina Hurricanes come a calling, possibly. Would you immediately take that position in a heartbeat? Would you even give Andreas 2 weeks?
If it was the play-by-play position, I think it's just go ahead and book the plane ticket. But I think nobody would fault me if that situation arose. But I don't think Mike Maniscalco is going anywhere anytime soon.
Maybe not. But he is Brooks Hill. Brooks, welcome back to the Power Play Post Show. It's great to talk to you. It's the middle of the summertime.
Yep.
It's a gorgeous day out today.
Absolutely.
So we obviously have a lot of things to talk about. The schedule has come out, and we're really excited about that. And some of the changes that have happened.
A lot of changes last week.
The league has made a lot of changes.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you make these changes slowly but surely. But this year, this league has made a lot of changes very quickly. Your thoughts, first of all, on so many changes so fast?
Yeah, so I think they probably got sped up a little bit with the concern of losing PD in Athens during earlier parts of this offseason. So I think that sped up some of the changes that they were going to implement a little bit. They've been talking about how they want to be the premier single A league. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there's somebody standing in their way of doing that. So I think they went for the approach of, we're going to get as many teams as possible and become a nationwide league, which, quite frankly, now they can say that they've accomplished.
Yeah.
You have teams on the East Coast, you have teams on the West Coast, and you have teams now in the middle. So I think that was one of their steps. And then they want to obviously gain some sustainability with the teams, like Motor City coming back after taking a year off. I think a lot of people were probably skeptical if they were going to come back, but them coming back, I think, does show a little bit of growth compared to maybe what we would have seen, maybe in this league 4 years ago or even before I came into the picture. Or whatnot, things like that. People.
But they solidified the ownership group there that is in charge of the Port Huron Prowlers and the Motor City Rockers. So I think that is one of the other big growths of this league is that, the ownership groups have gotten better. Like where we are today versus 5 years ago is completely different.
I think so. I think also it's worth probably... it's fair saying the people that are in these ownership groups now have more income and more net worth that's available to them, where you can start running these teams more professionally than what was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. With some, you're also seeing, like with a bunch of organizations, they're operating a full-time staff. It's not just 3 people in cubicles.
Yeah.
You have creatives, you have salesmen, you have receptionists, things like that you would walk into, let's say like a car dealership, and then you would see that as well. Like, it's continuing to make the right strides, and the league is on a upward trajectory. I would definitely say that, but I guess circling back to the original question, they really, they wanted to make some changes, and I think because of what the situation was for them, they wanted to go ahead and just do it all at once. It's kind of learning how to swim in the deep end here. Yeah.
One of the big changes was with 17 teams creating a conference system and divisions. And one of the things, and I hope the fans see it the way I do or kind of can understand my point here, the NFL, the most successful league in all of North America, maybe the world, I don't know, there's some soccer leagues out there that would probably argue that they're the most successful or the biggest. They have 4-team divisions, and it works. And though, people could question, why is the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC East? That's about rivalries and stuff like that. But the FPHL has now gone to a very similar system here where they have 4-team divisions, 1 5-team division. And I found that very interesting. Talk to me a little bit about what you thought when you started seeing those divisions in the conference stuff come up.
So I think it goes hand in hand with the point system getting changed this year to align with the NHL point system. I remember when I first started here, my biggest question was how come they're using a 3-point system? Obviously, upon doing research into it, it's like that's the way that they do it internationally.
Yeah.
When they have, IHF games or Olympics, stuff like that. I was like, 3 points is weird, but I guess, it gives credit to a team that can do the job in 60 minutes. And they're making that change this year, aligning them with the NHL, a little bit easier to understand for a new fan, which I think is what they're trying to attract.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this 2 conference and 2 divisions per conference lines up exactly with the NHL right now.
Yeah.
You have your Eastern Conference, your Western, your Metro, Atlantic, Central, and Pacific. And now with the FPHL, them going with the Eastern and Western Conference, and then you just have different names like Delta, Frontier, Atlantic, and Great Lakes.
Yeah.
They're following the exact same model, just with less teams. And people who would maybe want to say, well, okay, it's not going to be even. Well, unfortunately, when you have an odd number of teams, someone's going to be the odd one out. And obviously the teams out west are going to be the odd ones out in this situation. But that's just like it was in the NHL before Seattle came in.
Sure,
when there was
absolutely.
31 teams.
Yeah. And the NFL's had that before as well. They had 5 teams in one of the divisions at one point before other teams came into it.
Yeah.
But this really does start to mirror up what is happening on a national league when it comes to the the NHL and the NFL and leagues like that, which I think is something that when we talk about SPHL versus FPHL, the SPHL has failed to kind of do. And the other thing is they just switched to the 3-point system, where they were the 2-point system, and the FPHL was really the only North American league that was using the 3-point system. Very strange, but that's just the way it is. And now the FPHL looks more like an affiliated league, even though they're not yet.
I thought it was odd.
Perception.
I thought it was odd that the SP switched to the 3-point system, and then the FPHL decided to go to the 2-point system. I understand. We got this whole packet. Me and EJ did about the plan this past week for the rollouts for the home opener dates, the conferences and the divisions, the point system, the schedule, and
which I think the league has done a great job this week doing. I think the rollout from Monday to Friday has been done very well, and they've done it consistently at 12 o'clock.
Yep.
The fans like that, where they know when to expect something is going to come out, news is going to come out, information.
Oh yeah, and you had a lot of people call. As soon as we announced when the home opener was, people thought that they could go ahead and get a skybox in season or get a single game ticket for that. That's not the case.
Not yet.
No. So now that we have the schedule, obviously now we can send it to Ticketmaster because not everybody in the FPHL uses the same ticketing program because they have different arenas and different contracts that they have to honor.
Like Blue Ridge uses a system called eTix, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Some people use Tick City.
Yep.
Things like that. So fortunately enough, we're a Ticketmaster arena. So now that we have the schedule, we send out our 28 home games, and then a programmer or a representative from Ticketmaster will actually program our arena. And we will send him a list of everybody who has a season ticket.
Right.
And we go ahead and block that off all year. Now that we have a schedule, people are going to start calling in pretty soon, and they're going to start picking their partial dates about which games they want to come to. So then we also send that to them as well. But, single game tickets are probably going to hold off. I think normally they go on sale in September.
Okay.
Because we really want to push everybody to get season tickets.
Yeah.
Because as soon as single game tickets go on sale, we can't guarantee a new season ticket holder that they're going to have their seat all 28 games.
Right, that makes
because
sense.
that ticket's already sold.
That makes sense.
So we're going to still continue to push season tickets. Bobby and Kelsey have done a great job all summer working with that. And they've figured out a new system.
Wait, there's a new system for you guys to learn up there?
No, not for us to learn, but it also helps the consumer stay a little bit more accountable, where they don't have to call if they just want to go back to an invoice that we send them. They can just make payments when they want to.
Nice.
Obviously, we're still calling. People still come in person and they want to do it that way. Some people call over the phone. Some people don't want to talk to a person, so they just love doing it through an email and an invoice. So whichever way people want to, get a season ticket, they can still do that.
Let's talk about the conferences and the divisions a little bit more. Dig deep into them a little bit. The Atlantic Division, which is where the Binghamton Black Bears will reside, has the Danbury Hat-Tricks, the Blue Ridge Bobcats, and for the first time being in the same division together, the Twin City Thunderbirds. Personally, I love this. There is a story for the Binghamton Black Bears against all three of these teams, right? Danbury was one of our first and most vicious rivals, right? Blue Ridge, we know the history there. I mean, that's been well documented.
What happened?
Was there? That's a topic that we can talk about in the future because there's going to be 5 games against the Blue Ridge Bobcats. And then, of course, the Twin City Thunderbirds, we faced them twice in the finals and beat them. There's history here. I like the way this 4-team division was set up.
I think people's biggest issue with it is Watertown's not in it, being a team in the state of New York, being in upstate New York.
Fair.
Because technically Watertown's a closer drive for us than it is to go to Danbury. So I think that's probably the sore thumb that sticks out a little bit. But the way that you look at the other divisions and the way they set it up out west, it kind of makes sense. Now, I would really, really hope that Watertown's going to go through the proper channels this year, and travel through Canada when they're going to Michigan, because they're going to Canada a lot. To take on Motor City and Port Huron, and then Minnesota. Because
it would make their lives a lot easier if they could go through Canada.
Yes.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's certain rules with immigration.
Yep.
I've become very familiar with the United Kingdom's visas. Getting ready to go to Scotland.
That's right.
With my father and some of his friends. For a week, it's going to be a good time. But one thing I had to do, even though I already have an updated passport, so that when we were traveling through Canada with the coaching staff in the Port Huron series last summer, to go to the United Kingdom, you have to have a visa now. And then so I have to go to their immigration website and fill out their required paperwork about what part of the United Kingdom I'm going to, everything like that. Of course, you got to pay an extra $20,
right.
But it's something that's really simple. And then hopefully, teams who are going to travel to Michigan, especially teams like Watertown, Binghamton, and Danbury, we can kind of take advantage because it does shorten the travel. It makes it much more manageable.
For Binghamton, it's 2 hours, 2.5 hours difference?
I believe, honestly, I think it's north of 3 hours that it saves.
That's amazing.
And luckily for us, we did it without stopping, coming back after the Port Huron game 1 of the division finals last year.
Yeah.
And we made pretty good time as well. Now, going there, we stopped and we weren't in a hurry, everything like that. It was regular daytime, but it's something that I think people will have fun with. Obviously, I think with 4 teams, that means the division race could get a little bit tighter because there's not as much buffer between the top and the bottom, let's say. We've regarded Twin City as a team that we've beaten twice in the finals. Obviously, I don't think they are going to look the same this year as they have in years past.
New head coach, John Batista, has got some work cut out for him. There's a lot of guys that aren't going to be back and some guys that will be back, but it's going to be a different team for sure. Very much like Binghamton will be a different team this year as well. I mean, we've got a few guys already signed back, Chicho Laughlin and CJ Stubbs and, of course, Ivan Bondarenko, but we're going to look different.
Yeah, I mean, right now, on paper, I think Blue Ridge has the most consistency in their roster from last year to this year.
Because even Danbury's mixed things up a little bit already this year. Yeah.
One thing that we tried to get some push on from what I was told. Now, I have no say in the schedule-making process.
No, you don't.
Because I would have a few gripes with it. But
we'll talk about those.
Well,
I got a little bit of
there are a few things, but
we'll talk about that in a little bit.
I think last year we played Watertown 18 times, 17 times, and Danbury 18 times.
16 times.
16. Okay, so add that. So 17 plus 16.
33 games
33
against
games.
those two teams. Yeah.
That's more than half your schedule.
Yes.
This year, that's cut down to
22.
11 and 11.
Yeah.
And then, funny enough, it kind of worked out both ways, where we have the slight edge in home game over Danbury and Watertown with being 6-5.
Thank you for bringing that up. I that was something I also wanted to make sure everyone knew. Last year we played Watertown 13 times up there, only 4 times here at the arena. This year it's 6-5. We get the edge. Danbury, we get the edge 6-5. That did work out into our favor. But you know what? Still, it's more even than just.
Yeah, it really hurts the broadcast.
Yeah, well,
14 times in Watertown.
Yeah, because
so I can live with 5.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully things can get worked out, and you can get up there into Watertown to do that. But the Great Lakes Division, Indiana, Motor City, Port Huron, Watertown. Watertown is 20 minutes away from Lake Ontario, so we can throw that out there and go, hey, they are kind of a Great Lakes.
I didn't have any gripe with that.
Yeah,
I thought they was like, oh yeah, they border a Great Lake. So
and the distance between Watertown and Indiana is very much like Binghamton to Winston-Salem. I mean, it's probably off by an hour or two. I don't know 100%. I'd have to go look at my numbers.
Yeah.
But my point is there is similar distances between the furthest teams away between these two divisions. So it works out.
I think so. And, I wrote the article that hopefully fans have read by now.
Well, hopefully they've read ours too.
Yep,
both of ours.
That's also. So I kind of did. I just did like the Black Bears style of like press release of the article,
sure,
or of the schedule, and kind of just hit it really quick, like at a glance, like what stands out immediately. If you're looking at EJ's graphic, like what are some trends that you can find? And we're going to play 23 of the 56 games against the teams in the division.
Yeah.
So
that's not bad.
No, it's not at all. So
I think that's a good balance.
I think so too.
Because sometimes you can play too many games against teams in your own division. And one of the things that I always said, and listen, last year we still won the championship, right? But what was one of the things I was griping about on the Power Play Post Show a lot? We weren't playing good enough teams enough.
I think that was a lot of Brant's.
Yeah.
Complaints near the end of the season.
Well, he listens to the Power Play Post Show. He knows.
I know he does. I think there was a lot of complaints about the amount of times that we saw Watertown, and unfortunately, just the way that things kind of rolled out in Danbury last year, they would classify last year as a down year for them.
Mm-hmm.
The way that Danbury and Watertown were so heavy at the end of the schedule, besides that Hall of Fame weekend that we had with Port Huron with the specialty jerseys, that was kind of eating up a good chunk of it. And unfortunately, it's really easy to fall into a state of compliance or, as my dad would say, you got a lot of lactic acid building up at that point where you're not challenging yourself enough. So, playing some cross-division games, like we're ending with Motor City and Watertown at the end of it. Like we're going out to Downriver a few times this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. And, the games against the Western Conference, I think, are going to be good as well. Early road trip to Columbus.
I love that. And
I wish it was at a different part of the year.
No, I get it, but this is also good for a team element as well, because when you get to go out on a road trip where you're going to be on the bus for a few days with your guys or in the hotel room, it allows you to bond. Yeah. NHL head coaches talk about this all the time. Hey, are we going out to L.A.? Which weekend we're going out to L.A.? Oh, perfect. That's awesome because it's a bonding moment for the whole team.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing. I think Columbus is a nice trip to go out there. You're going to go out there the day before. You're going to stay in a hotel. You're going to get some food. You're going to have the 2 games, and then you're going to be in the road coming back. That allows veterans and pros and rookies to get together and talk and to really get to know each other.
I think that is going to be good, and the weather's still going to be good in Columbus, Georgia.
Oh yeah,
in October.
Yeah.
So.
But I get why you'd want it later on in the year.
Absolutely.
During the wintertime, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the only reason.
Fans, what you need to know is that in some cases, broadcasters, they don't play on the ice. So they're looking for, hey, which trip is where I can get out of the snow and the cold and get into some warm weather? And this guy from North Carolina definitely looks at the schedule that way sometimes. But that Columbus one is really good. I think seeing Port Huron early in the season is a good thing for the Black Bears as well, because, again, and especially here at home, it allows the Black Bears to kind of really see Port Huron may look similar to they did last year. We may not, so this will be a good testing ground early.
I think so, and it's funny, starting off with 3 games at home is kind of a blessing, I would think. Mm-hmm. Only playing 1 game opening weekend that you have to look forward to.
But that's okay, too, because when you have a team that's trying to find their way, 1 game just boom, and then the coach has a whole week to get them ready for that big matchup.
Yeah, I think so. And then also, if you remember kind of the way that the FBHL has done things with like the roster constraints early in the season is
typically
have a few extra people. By the time you get to that Columbus road trip, I think that is probably like when the number is going to be at
down 20,
whatever they decide.
Yeah, they haven't told us yet this year.
So I think normally like those first 2 weeks you're gonna be you're carry like a little bit more. So like we're have more extras. And you might have some guys who only play in one of the first 3 games. And then, some cuts will be made, and then you're really probably starting to see who's going to be on this squad when we go down to Columbus. That aspect of it is really good. It's also really nice because you have guys, like Stubbs and Bondarenko, who, were once upon a time part of that River Dragons team, part of that Ignite Cup team.
In 2021 when they won the championship.
Yeah, they have that Ignite Cup. So going back there,
does the cup really cool. live down there? Do you think? Do you think Columbus?
The Ignite Cup?
Yeah, the Ignite Cup.
I guarantee you, the Ignite Cup is down there.
Is down there? That's interesting.
I put a lot of money on that. So I think that part of the early aspect of the schedule is really cool. And then one thing that we have, and I don't know if this was your next segue into a talking point. We have a 3-3 for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
Veterans Day weekend.
Yep. So Baton Rouge Kingfish will be coming to town. They just announced just a few days ago that logo and that team name. I like the Kingfish name. I like the fact that they've brought back, when some teams have come back, they're bringing back some of those original names, right? And I think that's been a really nice aspect. And there's some familiarity with Monarchs, at least for me. I worked for the Monarchs back in the AHL days a little bit, doing color commentary on a regular basis on their road games. I like some of these, you can get a little weird with names sometimes, right? Bobcats is fine by me. The Kingfish has history to it. The Monarchs, there's been a lot of teams named the Monarchs. I think even an NHL team at one point was called the Monarchs, if I go back way, way back when. So this isn't too bad, but Baton Rouge coming in, and then immediately after that, the Blue Ridge Bobcats, a visit down to Wytheville, Virginia.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've been to. I wonder if it's still the Hitachi Energy Arena. I think it was when we went down there. I know the first year it was just the Apex Center, but yes. I think it is. I think it was Hitachi when we went down there. But the 3-3 I think is going to be fun. Military. That's going to be Military Appreciation Night probably on that Saturday.
Yep.
And then we're working on some marketing ideas for Friday and Sunday already right now as well. But November is always like a weird month. Hockey wise, you get really big with Military Appreciation Night. Lockheed's been a great partner with us. Are
they partying up again for that?
I assume they are.
They've always been great supporters of Binghamton hockey.
They have, absolutely have, and but unfortunately, that is not one of my clients. So, I'm
talking to the wrong person.
I'm kept in the dark on that one a little bit until it gets
closer
signed.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have a lot of contracts they have to work through. But it's been really cool working with Lockheed the last couple of years. I think EJ already has a mind made up on what the jersey design is going to look like. One thing. worth noting.
I don't know if he could do better than last year's. I absolutely love that navy blue with the bear head. I don't know.
He's got some,
He's got some ideas.
Fortunately, USA Hockey's done really well internationally the last couple of tournaments.
I have
women, and sled hockey.
I have a Binghamton USA Senators jersey. I could show him that because it's a beautiful design that they did back in the Sens days.
He's got some stuff cooking up, but one thing that is interesting is like now that we have the schedule is we start planning out like our specialty jersey nights,
sure,
and where we want to follow them on the calendar. Obviously, military is always the first one, or normally the first one. We've had some earlier ones in years past, but one thing that like we have to do is we got to get those jerseys in, and we got to get them ordered like as soon as possible.
We've seen at all levels of hockey, if you don't get those jerseys in quick enough, sometimes you're announcing to your fans 2 days beforehand, we don't have the specialty jerseys. We're not doing that. And it's happened in everywhere from the Fed all the way up to the AHL. I've seen it. So especially in the last few years, it's very difficult. Suppliers are having a hard time with stuff like that. And not necessarily because of COVID, just because business is crazy and travel and getting stuff from China and all that stuff has been crazy.
It is crazy. Like it is like...
but knock on wood, Binghamton has done really well and not had many problems.
We haven't had to miss one yet. Came close one time, but you know what? Nobody knows what jersey almost didn't make it, but it made it, so it doesn't matter. But like things can sometimes get held up at customs and things like that. So, but like I don't think people appreciate EJ's work enough. Like he designs all of our jerseys,
right?
Like it's not going to the supplier and just being like, oh, black, green, white, right. What do you have? And then we choose from it. No, like he's very hands-on. Like EJ designs the ring that people are going to see, closer to the season. So he's very hands-on and he does a really good job as well.
But he also works really well with the jersey manufacturers and Barron's who makes the rings, and being able to communicate with them and work with those people is very, very important in getting that kind of stuff done well, and he does a very good job at that. There are 10 teams on the schedule this year for the Binghamton Black Bears versus 7 last year.
Yeah.
I like that there's some variety there. I think that was one of the nicest changes to this schedule. And yeah, sure, we only see some teams twice, or 3 times like it is with Baton Rouge, but it's still variety.
Or once with Blue Ridge.
Well, Blue Ridge only comes in once, yes, but we see them 5 times overall, which is not necessarily a good thing. But hey, listen, they're in our division. Last year they were in our division. We didn't face them at all, and that's unfortunate because there is a rivalry. There is something there that can transpire on the ice. May not because we have so many new players. CJ remembers what happens. I mean, we just thought about it. This is a guy who's coming back to the Binghamton Black Bears, and I'm looking right down on the ice where he was down in Blue Ridge, and what happened. He remembers. He's going to remember.
Oh yeah, there's probably a couple of dates already circled from the guys just looking at the schedule. Top to bottom, any of the 56 games. I think that playing more teams offers fans a little bit more variety. I think that, like I said before, we don't make the schedule.
No.
I think that was one of the complaints last year with the schedule is there wasn't a lot of variety.
Right.
Motor City coming back, being on the schedule,
helps.
Adds some. We might get to see Connor Smith and Dakota Bond if they're going to travel with the team that week. I'd be willing to bet that they're probably going to pick one time to come to Binghamton. And come
hope.
With them. I hope so. Obviously, I think everybody would have rioted if Mid-South didn't come to Binghamton in the second half of the season.
Well, and that's just it. Let's talk about that. Mid-South, February 26th, February 27th. Mid-South will be here that weekend. Obviously, that'll mark the return of Tyson Kirkby. It'll obviously Cam Cervoni and, of course, Emerson Emery, their head coach, Mac Jansen. All champions last year will be coming back. That weekend has got to be circled by everybody involved. Everybody with Mid-South and everybody with Binghamton to have that team coming up here for those 2 games.
I think so. I think that's going to be a very fun weekend. we talked about like my complaints with the schedule. I kind of hate that we're not going to Mid-South.
I know.
At some point that season. It'll be good to see Cole, because that'll be the first time I see him since he left at the end of last year, back in May. So it'd be good to catch up with him as well. So I think it'll be very emotional for those 4 guys on the Mid-South squad. Coming back, but as soon as the game gets going, I think that you kind of like, hopefully they turn it off, and I think they can. All 4 of those guys are really great guys. I actually got a funny text message from Emerson Emery just like 2 weeks ago, just out of the random. It was a group message, I think, with Emery, Cervoni, C-Mac, me, and one other person, I can't remember. Just out of the blue, random, middle of the day, is the video of me riding the bull while we were down in Winston-Salem last year after the game. And I was just like, where'd you find that? And he just didn't respond. So it was crazy. So they got a great sense of humor. I miss those guys, or I will miss those guys, like once we get around. Obviously with a lot of new faces this year already for the Black Bears. Gonna have to get them acquainted to the way that things kind of go around here with the systems.
Got to get them on the Tully Show. Got to get them on the Power Play Post Show so everybody can learn who they are from the 2 of us. That's our job, right?
It is.
We tell stories.
So getting ready to like plan training camp, because like we have to figure out like when's the ice going in, how many days do we have to go over to SUNY Broome to skate. That's something that we have to do every year. Like, what are our meeting times for meals? What events do the Booster Club have coordinated?
The golf tournaments, stuff like that.
All those kind of things. As we get closer to the end of summer, and we're still, I would say, I think maybe we're at the halfway point now, because August, there's still nothing going on. Technically, in September, there's still nothing going on. But, like, as soon as it gets to October, that's when training camp starts. So as we get closer into September, we start winding down on like the summer kind of mindset, and really getting ready for hockey. But
I mean, they've already locked up the arena, and it's like after 4:00, and we're locked in here now.
There's a line of people.
I live at the arena now.
There was a lot of people from downstairs who I was waiting on you to get here, and they were locking the doors at 4:00, and they were heading out. So I think it's coming together nicely. And with Mid-South,
I hope those games are sold out. I want those games sold out.
I hope so too. This year I will say one thing that I kind of noticed is a lot of Fridays and Saturdays back to like the both games at home, because we're not playing. And that's one thing you sacrifice when you're not playing Watertown and Danbury as much.
Right.
Is
the home and home.
Is the home and home. So there's a lot of weekends where either the Black Bears are on the road both days, or they're at home both nights as well.
Yeah, there's not that many. There's one home and home with Danbury at the beginning of the season in October. At the end, and there might be 1 or 2 others as well, but there's not that many. Blue Ridge coming to town on January 23rd. I would like to see that be a sellout as well. Love to see the home opener obviously be a sellout against Watertown. 3rd time in a row that we're going to open up against Watertown. Hopefully we take the edge in the wins on that one there. So it's 2-1, because I make a big deal about that.
I know.
Not that anyone knows.
No, we hear you talk about it.
And then the last 3 months of the season, it's not your typical teams that we're going to be playing a lot of. Yes, there's Watertown 5 times in those last 3 months, but there's Twin City, Indiana, Port Huron. Obviously, we already talked about Mid-South. And a lot of, I mean, that's really what it is. It's kind of nice. It's different teams at the end of the season a little bit, which I think will make this very interesting, especially with Motor City being on there 6 times as well.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about the Watertown is 3 of those games are the week of St. Patrick's Day, if you look right there. So those are actually, we're playing in Watertown 3 of 4, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
And then obviously at the end of the regular season. So like, that's a little bit of an anomaly, I would say. Playing Twin City 4 times in a month is something that we're probably not accustomed to.
We did that last year in January. We
Yeah,
did.
which is-
But that was
but
weird.
It is weird.
Yeah.
But I think let's see here. Are both of those
One,
are all four?
The first one
first
is
two are
at
on the road.
Winston-Salem,
Yeah.
and then we see them at the end of March.
So I think that'll be fun. I think that trip to Winston-Salem will be fun because I think the weather will be a little bit better in North Carolina come March. That's normally when we get like our first heat wave.
4 games at the end of the year against the Motor City Rockers, 2
Yep.
here in Binghamton, and then 2 like
At least we're not going to Motor City when the NFL draft is going on, because that was a nightmare. So thankfully Detroit is not hosting the NFL draft this year, or next year I should say.
Again, as I said, 10 teams are on our schedule, which is phenomenal out of 17, which means a possible 16 teams. We're seeing 10 of them. We're seeing all the teams in the Western Conference except for the Frontier Division and Monroe. That's basically it there, which is kind of nice. None of the months are overloaded. We don't have double-digit games in any of the months, which I find impressive. Last year we did have a month where we played 10 games in it. And then, of course, the usual, Fridays and Saturdays at home in Binghamton. 2 Wednesday games, which is a little bit more than normal. A Sunday game, right, with the 3-3. And then, of course, a Thursday game this year, which I think is the New Year's Eve game, which always sells out for you guys now.
Well, let's hope that it continues that trend. I think what people might not see if you're not connecting the dots about the schedule this year is there's actually 1 week that the Black Bears aren't playing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And that's in early November. So I think that's where you get a game on St. Patrick's Day against Watertown.
Yeah.
And then a Sunday game against Baton Rouge. Obviously for Baton Rouge, if they're going to come all the way from Louisiana, you kind of want to. I can understand them wanting to play 3 games. Because then they're going to travel back. So that right there, and then with the league being at an odd number of teams, is you got to think about it. Someone is not playing every weekend,
right?
And then it just so happens that the Black Bears off week or bye week, let's call it.
It's so early in the season.
It is. It's early in the season, which an NFL coach would say you don't want to be the team that has the week 5 bye.
Nope.
So. In that retrospect, kind of hurts a little bit because people might not be wanting to go home, things like that. You kind of want that in January or February.
Yeah.
When you start to get in the dog days of winter in the middle of the season. But I think we have 4 holiday games this year.
Halloween,
yeah. So playing at home on Halloween, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna wear.
Are you gonna dress up?
I might wear I've already thought
about it. If you wear a costume, I will promise you right here on the Power Play Post Show, I will come up here, sit here in seat number 1 like I normally do, and I will have a costume on. If you do.
I don't know if I'm going to do a costume, but I think I might just wear my silver suit with a black shirt and an orange tie and just fit the theme.
Fit the theme.
I might do that. But it's weird. We've never played a home game on Halloween while I've been here. So that'll be fun. We got the Thanksgiving Eve game, or technically the day before Thanksgiving, which has been really that has turned out to be really well over the last couple of years. New Year's Eve, and I left it off the article, but some people could qualify it as the 5th holiday game. Christmas Eve or Festivus on the 23rd.
It's the one part of the schedule that even I, who love to be here at the arena, it's 2 days before Christmas. We're already going to be here on the day after Christmas, which has become a tradition here in Binghamton for a very long time. I don't want to be here the 2 days before Christmas, and I know a lot of other people probably don't. But again, you and I don't write the schedules.
No. So that one's a pseudo holiday, I would say.
Yeah.
And then New Year's Eve this year is on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I believe last year we had the 2 Wednesday games because Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving, and then New Year's Eve was on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that's how it lined up. So and then when you think about that Thursday is just taking the place of the Friday game. So you're just playing a day earlier.
Well, technically,
that week.
when is St. Patty's Day.
On a Wednesday, but we're playing in Watertown.
Oh,
So
that's true.
we're gonna be on the road, but it is a holiday
But
game.
it's another holiday game, but it's on the road.
But a lot of fans
They
travel
travel
to
up there.
Watertown.
Yeah. So we can count that as a holiday game for Binghamton.
And who knows, maybe Watertown will let us wear the green jerseys on the road that day. So I think that'll be really cool. Playing a home game, not a holiday, but we're playing a home game on my birthday this year, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
We've been on the road the last couple of years for my birthday, so that'll be neat not to have to travel on the birthday.
But it would have been
like, be on the
better.
bus.
But it would have been better if they were in Winston-Salem on your birthday, because then
That would have
you'd see your
been.
family.
I'm.
When is your birthday
by
again?
the schedule, April 2nd. So we're taking on
yeah.
Motor City. Friday. It should be a Friday against Motor City if my mind serves me correct.
Yeah.
But RC my parents plenty of times. With us going down to Winston-Salem twice, I'm sure they'll probably be there both times. So I'm going to see them then.
Who does your parents like more, you or Cole?
Me.
Figured I'd ask that question. Now, I know Cole really enjoyed going down and seeing your family and hanging out with them.
I think Cole enjoys my parents more than me. I think you asked that question backwards.
I probably did. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about, there's all this new stuff on the Fed website. 5 days worth of news. One of the days they did an extra one, which was the Fed Next, which is about ethics and whatnot. I don't want to get into that, but it made me think of a question as I was driving over here to talk to you.
Okay.
The Binghamton Black Bears have done very well on the ice. Everybody knows it. They've won championships, and no matter what fans think across the plains, people like CJ Stubbs, they want to play here. And, we don't even have a guarantee that Brant Sherwood is coming back at this point, as you and I are recording this right at the moment. But CJ Stubbs did sign on. I think it was, Thursday of last week when he did sign back on.
Yeah.
People want to play here, not necessarily for nefarious reasons like a lot of people think out there. But also at the same point, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the front office. The front office has remained very similar and the same for 5 years. You came in year 2 as Rob Lepolis left to run his tail up to Glens Falls, New York.
Yep.
I love Rob, so I can pick on him a little bit here.
We
and
actually
there.
just while it's on the mind because you said his name, we actually played in the one of the STHA golf tournaments this year.
Yeah.
And Rob was in the field,
Nice.
competing against us, and we did beat his team by 1 stroke. And he's a very good golfer, so he was upset with that. So he took our prize for 3rd place. Was a 12-pack of beer, and he just opened Trevor's 12-pack and just started drinking from it while we were in the parking lot hanging out with him. I think that was hilarious.
Rob is a great guy and everything, but the front office staff has been here for together, a lot of them, for a very long time. I think Julia left, Rob has left, right? I think that's really it. That's the movement. But what that has done is built a consistency up there to make the front office, which sells the tickets, does the advertising, gets the sponsors, all of that from attendance to sponsorships to corporate support of this team has only done nothing but go up. And a big part of it is the consistency of the front office. Give me your thoughts on that, because I know for you, you're ready to move up. You're ready to make the next step to the next level. But what you guys have accomplished here, you can't be unnoticed, can't be untalked about, because in no time has this city ever seen a team win a championship, go to the finals, and then the next year increase their attendance by 10% or 20% or whatever it might be. You guys have done that, and you guys deserve a lot of credit for that.
Well, thank you. And you're definitely right. And the people who work with me in the front office definitely don't get enough credit for how hard they work.
We were recording this. They could have left at 4 o'clock and they were still here.
Yeah. Many of them are still here because we're actually going to, the day that we're recording this, we're actually going to a team event that we were invited to. So I think it's fair to say that, I'm a public-facing figure with the organization.
Yes.
Because of, things like the Tullys, because of this show.
Yeah.
I'm around the concourse a lot, and you hear my voice and you see my face on the broadcast. more than anybody else in the front office, and that comes with that position. So to say that I get, probably recognized and get complimented the most is probably a fair assessment. But they put in equal, if not more, amount of effort into their jobs that are, kind of thankless. Unfortunately, like with some things, you only hear about it if something's going wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bobby,
which is why I've tried to bring it up
Yes.
over the years to talk about the organization, because you don't increase your attendance without the people that are up in that office right now.
So, I'll talk about them before I talk about myself. But, Bobby and Trevor were employees 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Kelsey very shortly after was employee number 3. They've been here all 5 years of the team. Trevor and his fiance are at a stage in their life where, now they're homeowners here in Broome County. So, that just goes to show you that, they're thinking about their future, and their future is here, in Binghamton. I think it is very, good awareness in the hiring process on Andreas and, the former partners who brought them in. You think about Bobby and Kelsey, both of them are either, Vestal or Shenango Valley, high school alums in that case. So you got more Broome County people that are right here. They've continued to stay on, and even though some roles have changed over the 5 years, and maybe their day-to-day doesn't look exactly the same as what it once does, being somewhere for 5 years, especially in minor league sports, I would actually say is probably a little bit rare to find nowadays. In EJ's case, EJ came on in the same year I did, but he came halfway through the year, and he started off as an intern. So for a season, he was an intern with us, just came in every day, did his work. Before EJ, I was doing the graphics for the team and the score updates and things like that. Took that off my plate, and he knocks it out of the park all the time. It's incredible with the stuff that he's able to create.
If you took my skills and your skills and put them together, we still wouldn't equal what EJ does.
No.
I have that much respect for him, and I'm willing to say that on air. He does a phenomenal job. The best in FPHL, maybe even the best in single A hockey. I haven't looked at a lot of graphics in the ECHL and the AHL in a long time, so I can't speak for them, but he's really great at what he does.
Absolutely. Well, he's a guy who grew up in, Friendsville, PA, just below the state line, went to Seton Catholic. So there's another local person there. So finding people who have ties to the region, does help in retaining employees. Now, let's talk about the oddball out. That would be me.
You're the oddball.
Where I have no ties,
no.
to the region.
You're starting your broadcasting career, and it just ends up that you came to one of the cities with one of the most impactful, legacies in minor league hockey. Let's be honest. There's the Hershey Bears. There's the Rochester Americans. You could talk about, Providence, Rhode Island, or maybe even Cleveland, Ohio, with the Monsters and the legacy that was well before that. And then there's Binghamton. Because Binghamton and Johnstown and Syracuse were part of the NAHL, which created Slapshot, a movie that we all grew up and loved and laughed at and whatnot. You ended up here, and you're part of that legacy. But at the same time, Brooks, and I'm being perfectly honest with you, you want to move up. You want to go to the ECHL. You want to eventually someday call an NHL game. There's nothing wrong with that. And it's good to talk about that sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's not a secret that I don't have anything really tying me down to this area.
No.
Should an opportunity arise, I do dream of working for an NHL team one day. Obviously, you can't do NHL and FPHL at the same time, realistically. But it also doesn't mean that I'm not present where my feet are. Like, right now, I am the Director of Media Relations and Broadcasting for the Binghamton Black Bears.
A 3-time Commissioner's Cup champions Black Bears.
Yes. So, every day, even though, I might, hear something from a colleague or, an old broadcasting friend about an opening somewhere, I still have to do my job on the day, like for the Black Bears, and
Right.
what do the Black Bears need today?
Yeah. Brant's going through the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Wants to get a job in ECHL, but he's taking care of the Black Bears, signing rookies, recruiting, doing that part of the job, because that's part of it. But you guys are in the two fields that really want to move up.
I think so, and then I also think that we're also in the two fields that it is the hardest to move up in.
That's fair.
So, it's a process, and, you get really familiar with rejection, especially in broadcasting. I don't want to speak for Brant, but he probably feels the same way, because you can only have one head coach, where you can have multiple assistants.
Yeah.
Most teams only have one broadcaster,
Especially in minor league hockey, right?
Just because of the budgets and things like that. So, it's baby steps, and you have to be mentally tough. Some days are easier than others, because you might apply somewhere and you do everything right broadcasting wise, but you don't have enough experience in a different aspect. And it's like, oh, okay. So then the next season you go out and you try to gain more experience in that fold, and then you try again. And just with things like that, you try to, you better yourself, because the knowledge that you take in, figuring out more stuff, isn't going to hurt you. You just hope that it pays off eventually one day. But I don't think it's a secret that, if an opportunity arose, that I would consider it.
Yeah.
But it also has to make sense. I'm not going to go get lowballed by the ECHL
And go to Alaska.
Yeah, and then it's would I take a pay cut to go to an ECHL team that's
Right.
3 times as far away? Maybe one of their West Coast teams.
It's amazing too, because those are the considerations that even head coaches like Brant have to consider as well, right? Do I want to go to California and be so far away from, his wife and his family and his life for maybe an organization that isn't still running well, like the Binghamton Black Bears or something to that effect?
Yeah.
So,
Right now, I got to figure out who's going to replace Cole. That's one of my tasks.
You have to get a new intern.
I think I do. So that's
because
on
there are tasks that Cole did on a day-to-day basis in some cases.
Yeah.
That took things off of your plate so you could sell, get ready for broadcast. There's a lot of broadcasters don't just sit on the mic for 3 hours. A few of them do, but not all of them do.
Not at this level.
Yeah.
So you do day-to-day stuff and
try hats.
Yeah, you try to make life easier on the other guys in the front office as well. So if it's answering the phones and trying to help people just answer their questions, sometimes they don't even want to buy a ticket, they just want to know if there's a game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Things like that. Coordinating with the media about the interviews. I have people like Bruce, Kyle, Thomas reach out. Sometimes I'm a little proactive, and I let them know, oh, hey, this is coming out today. If you want to air it at 5 o'clock or at 6 o'clock, whenever their broadcast is,
right?
Just so that way they can get their video and their graphics together. Because I understand that they have other things they have to report on too. So a few hours heads up probably doesn't hurt them.
It helps them, right,
to be ready for it, and it makes them look good too.
All right, so let me ask you this before we end the interview, so you guys can go to your event, which you told me about beforehand, and I think is pretty cool. Are you excited for this upcoming season? Because there's been a lot of changes, variety in the schedule. Got to defend the 3-time championship. No Cole, so that's a little bit new and exciting for both you and Cole, right? Are you excited for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I'm always excited for when we get to end season. Training camp, I always say, is like hell week.
Yeah, you do say that.
So once we get through training camp, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that off weekend is going to probably come at a time that I appreciate it,
Right.
Because I probably will actually. I've already looked at it, and I've looked at like the ECU football schedule, and they play a home game that weekend that the Black Bears aren't playing a game.
Right.
So I'll probably go down.
Recharge because you have Hell Week and then 7 games.
And then
up to
when we come back, we have 3 with the Kingfish in a row. So things like that, I'm always excited. It's an opportunity to get better. I'll just go ahead and air it out here on Power Play Post Show exclusive. I was up for ECHL jobs, and I obviously haven't gotten them yet.
Right.
So it fuels me a little bit to get better and to find out, even if they say the broadcasting isn't the reason.
Yeah.
You want to be able to, definitively say, I am the best at something.
Or I'm the full package that you want to have.
Absolutely.
Everything. So you want to work towards that so you can bring that to a future potential job.
And I think that's the way that, I think Brandt's approached it the last couple of seasons as well.
Yeah.
Is, it's no secret that Brandt's had interviews in other places.
Yes. Well, no, yeah, it's not any secret. Yeah.
That okay, well, you won at that time, let's say it was 2 titles, okay, so you didn't get a job. What are you going to do? Oh, I'm actually going to get a team that is, if not the same, I'm going to get one that was better.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go win the championship again. Which is really funny because 3 seasons of championships, I think 3 way different seasons.
They were. All 3 of those seasons were different. We've talked about that in the past a little bit. Brooks, thank you so much for coming on, giving us a little. I mean, we got to look at the schedule, and which is pretty exciting. I think fans should be excited for this upcoming season, and just pimp it out a little bit. How can they get tickets?
Yeah, so fans can get tickets either by visiting us on the 3rd floor of the office. That's Monday through Friday. During the summer, hours are 9 to 4. Mm-hmm. They can still call the office, same old number that people have been calling forever. And then if you want to just look at information, it's all online under the season ticket tab on BinghamtonBlackBears.com. And it has all the pricing, the different rates, the different options. I think we're going to see a big boost in partial season tickets over the next month now that the schedule's out and people can see with their own eyes. Oh, okay, I want to come to all the Saturday games. Maybe I want to add in the holiday games as well. Sure. Things like that.
And people can call and talk to Bobby and Trevor or anybody in the office. And if you guys want something different that maybe they're offering, talk to you guys, right? Just talk to the staff because they'll figure it out for you and get you what you need or want or whatever. And maybe talk you into a sponsorship deal. Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. Anybody can help you out, with a corporate sponsorship deal. And, Bobby and Kelsey have taken the lead on the season tickets this year during the off season. I typically am only helping people when they're tied up with other things or they're in a different spot. So everyone, tries to row the boat to make sure that we get to the season in time. But the guys upstairs have done a really good job of making sure that there's less things to worry about downstairs. I think is the best way to kind of coincide with it, no matter who's coaching the team.
Perfect. He is Brooks Hill, broadcaster, director of media relations for the Binghamton Black Bears. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. And look forward to, talking again either once the season starts or right around it.
Right around it. All right, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's BinghamtonHockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Brooks Hill from the Binghamton Black Bears. We talked about a lot of things and even got a little deep there at the end of the interview as we talked about him trying to move up in the ranks when it comes to broadcasting and whatnot. Taylor, we have a really cool thing to talk about now next. And, of course, that is the signing, the only signing that the Binghamton Black Bears did last week, as all the announcements were being done by the FPHL and the Black Bears, they posted about, their home opener on Monday. And then I think there was another announcement about what division they were going to be in, that type of stuff. I think it was on Wednesday that the Black Bears announced a signing, the only signing that they announced. Can you talk to us? Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, so for the next 45 minutes, we'll be talking about...
No, we won't. Not 45.
I'm just kidding. Black Bears bring back championship star CJ Stubbs for the third season. And I have to be honest, I was very unsure if after the season that he had, if Stubbs would come back. Because, he had such a phenomenal season and he's, lives all the way out on the other side of the U.S. And I was like, there's no way he's going to want to come back again after, having such a great season, another championship.
Agreed.
And yet here we are.
Yeah.
The Binghamton Black Bears have secured one of the biggest pieces of their championship core, announcing that forward CJ Stubbs has re-signed for the 2026-27 season. It will be Stubbs' third season in Binghamton, where he has already helped the Black Bears capture back-to-back Commissioner Cup championships. The veteran forward enters his eighth professional season after previously spending 3 years with the SPHL's Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, where he also won a President's Cup championship, giving him an impressive history of success wherever he has played. After arriving in Binghamton during the 24-25 season, Stubbs quickly became one of the league's top offensive threats. He recorded 23 goals and 43 assists for 66 points in just 43 regular season games before adding 4 points in 8 playoff contests during the Black Bears championship run. He followed that up with an even bigger 2025-26 campaign, leading the team with 39 goals while adding 58 assists for a career-best 97 points in 53 games. Stubbs continued to produce in the postseason, tallying 6 goals and 5 assists in 9 playoff games as Binghamton claimed its third consecutive Commissioner's Cup. With the league MVP, Ivan Bondarenko, already committed to return, bringing back Stubbs gives the Black Bears another elite offensive weapon as they look to defend their title once again. The combination of Bondarenko and Stubbs provides head coach Brant Sherwood with one of the most dangerous 1-2 punches in the FPHL and sends another strong message that Binghamton is reloading, not rebuilding, for the 26-27 season.
Now, of course, when I wrote this, I wrote it wrong. Ivan Bondarenko was not the league MVP. He was the forward of the year. I screwed that up. Wasn't Stubbs the MVP, right? No. No, it was the guy from Columbus. It was Barrow from Columbus. Either way, I screwed up that writing of it and only just caught it when you were reading it just now for us.
Well, I mean, he's our MVP, so
Bondarenko? Well, 100%. Yeah, 100% he was our MVP. Can I just say, Taylor, when this was announced, I thought back about when I interviewed him after the championship and he was driving back home to Utah. And I was thinking when I recorded with him and I was talking with him a little bit before the interview, a little bit after the interview, I really did think that was it. We weren't going to see CJ Stubbs play hockey, professional hockey anymore. And it took me by surprise. Now, I'd had conversations with Brant Sherwood about CJ Stubbs and a couple other players just within the week before he signed. And Brant did give me a heads up that it was happening. So I was able to write this up and didn't catch my flub there at the end. But I was surprised because I really did think that when I interviewed him, I was like, you know what? This just sounds like he's not coming back. He didn't say it. He didn't say he's retiring. He didn't say that. But it just kind of, I had that feeling. And then boom, here he is. Now he's signed. He's coming back. And now with Bondarenko and Stubbs, and man, we've got a first line already, right? We've got a first line. We've got 2 guys that can play on the first line easily. Taylor, I was just surprised. I did not expect that. That was a surprise to me when I got the heads up on it and then the announcement came out, I was surprised.
I'm definitely surprised as well, but I truly think the fan base is probably just overly happy right now to have Stubbs and Bondarenko back.
Yeah.
And I said to you before we came back on that I had one comment that I had about Stubbs coming back.
Yeah.
And that was because you got Stubbs and Bondarenko, I want to see how long these two guys go with having a point per game to see if they can beat their record from last year. Because at one point, they were neck and neck, and they were having the same streak. And then I think Stubbs dropped out first, and Bondo kept, I don't remember exactly. I'd have to look back at the season. But they went,
20
I think
points.
It was over 20 games.
20 games with a point.
Yeah, that was insane.
It really was.
And it was a fun record to keep track of, and it's just kind of like every time you watched them on the ice, you were like hoping that they got an assist or they got a score.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, most likely a Bondarenko assist and Stubbs score because that just seemed to always happen.
I think this is a good sign for the Black Bears, right? Because even though Brant bragged a little bit and said, "Hey, listen, people in Binghamton, even if I don't come back." Year number one for me, his first full season, he had 16 rookies and they won the championship. No one thought that could happen. And it just made me feel also a little bit better about the upcoming season, knowing that, CJ Stubbs could be on our top line and there with Bondarenko. And now you just need a center. Now you just need to put somebody in the middle. And hey, Kyle Steffen, if you're out there, I got a spot for you on the Binghamton Black Bears. You could be right there in the middle, in between Ivan Bondarenko and CJ Stubbs. I think that would be awesome.
He's got to wait until you interview him about retiring and having a plan for the future. And then he's got to go mountain biking and post all these wonderful pictures of the things that he's doing. And then he needs to meet Andreas.
And then he goes, well, I mean, listen, I just wrote about it in the Three Peters report, about Kyle, and it's true. It's true. I mean, literally, do not listen. If you're a player on the Binghamton Black Bears,
if you need a ring, don't come pick it up in Binghamton.
No, because you're going to come back. If you've retired and you have to come back to Binghamton to get a ring, because Connor Smith, I think it ate on him for 2 years. Like, he won the championship in the first year with Binghamton, right? He comes back on opening night when they won the second championship, and he gets the ring, and he's showing me the ring, and I said, "Hey, what are you thinking?" He's thinking, I don't want to talk to Scherzi because I want to come back. I want to play. And I was like, well, you have to make the best decision for you, and don't ask me, because I would tell you to come back and play, because I would never tell a guy to retire if he felt he could still play, because once you're done, you're done, and you can't come back, and you're going to regret it. Well, guess what? He sat there for 2 years not playing, and now Connor Smith wants to come back. So, I mean, listen, Kyle, you could be the first line center right now for this team, and I think you would be amazing at it. You could do almost anything on the ice in the Fed, and I know you could be a first line center. So, hey, if you're out there listening, which, listen, if you got me, you're on a motorcycle and you get the helmet on, you got the ear pods in, and you're hearing me right now, we'll see you in October, because I think you would be a perfect fit for this team. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an interesting change in pace, considering we watched him kind of be the tough enforcer on the third line, just throwing bodies at the end of last season. So it'd be very cool to see that he could pretty much do it all.
He can. And honestly, listen, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. If you want to retire this upcoming season, don't come back and see Andreas at the arena. Don't come get your ring. Have them FedEx it to you.
Don't come get your ring.
Don't. Have them FedEx it to you, because you're literally not going to want to leave, because you're going to listen. Kyle Steffen said it best. He said, the fans in this arena make them feel like they're playing in the NHL, even though it's single A hockey. And it's true. And I don't know what Connor and Dakota are going to get by going back and playing in Motor City. It's not going to be the same feeling. It's not going to be the same love. It's not, I mean, listen, they'll probably be treated well. The fans will be good to them, but it's not going to be 4,800 fans screaming and hollering for them. It's not going to be the same. But man, that lure for them to come back and to play a little bit closer to home is almost a replacement for them coming back to Binghamton. And I get it. I understand. And like I said, I would never tell someone to retire. It's the worst, best advice I can ever give to any player because I've talked to players who have retired, AHL guys that were so close to making it to the NHL. They've come on the show and talked to me about retirement and walking away from the game. And it's hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. And I think CJ Stubbs is one of those guys that could be like, hey, I could go and start a job and do my life and, be rich and famous and all that stuff, in Utah. But he wants to come play hockey. And I don't blame him. And if that's what he wants to do, then do it. Because when it's over, it's over. And think about it in Brant Sherwood's shoes. Brant Sherwood retired and became a head coach, and then he was throwing shit up into the stands like he was still a player, right? Because he could get his mindset, and we've talked about it with Brant, and you're laughing, but it's true. We couldn't get Brant to stop thinking like a player and start thinking like a head coach for a while. And, I had many conversations with him about it. Q's probably had many conversations with him about it. And he finally, this past season, was like, I'm going to act like the adult in the room because I'm the head coach of the Binghamton Black Bears because that's what he needed to do. And it's good. It clicked for him. And he became head coach of the year, the coach of the year, right? Honors, because he wasn't in trouble and he was a good Samaritan. He was a good citizen behind the bench, except for just one game where him and Chris Paulin were going at it. But I think Chris Paulin and him, if they were playing checkers, would probably end up in a fist fight. I'm just saying.
I would think more of like a WWE match, to be honest, but that's just because I feel like he's going to sell it that way.
Well, you know what? Chris Paulin would. Brant would just sit there and listen to Chris Paulin talk, and then they would wrestle. He'd be the quiet one. Brant would be the quiet one in that conversation, and Chris Paulin would get on the mic, and he'd just be hammering away at it and whatnot. But listen, I love the fact that CJ Stubbs is coming back.
I think everybody is in love with the fact that he's coming back.
Yeah. So, well, fans, the schedule is out. The division alignment is out. The Fed said that within a week or two, they'll have the website all updated with the new standings and the breakouts and all that for the conferences. Taylor absolutely hates the names, but, whatever.
Just the two.
She's wrong.
You can blame my dad for it. So
okay, fair enough. Well, when I meet your dad for the first time,
I have a Marine brother and a dad who's obsessed with Star Trek, so it's rough for me.
When I meet your dad, I'll be like, hello, sir.
You guys will start quoting Star Trek, and I'll have to walk away. That's what's going to happen.
And then I'll tell him that, you couldn't get her to watch Star Trek and like it. I mean, come on, really?
I like the newer movies. I just
So you like some Star Trek?
Way too far.
You like some Star Trek?
Oh, yeah, I like Chris Pine. So yeah.
Oh, now I get it. All right, well, the new Uhura.
Yeah,
the new Uhura.
You're gonna take it into that one.
Well, no, the new Uhura she's hot. I mean, I'll get. Listen, the Kelvin timeline, the new Star Trek, the 3 movies that came out started in 2009, and I think went until 2016, and there were 3 movies. The crew is definitely good looking. Like they didn't just pick good actors. They're like, we need a good actor and hot. We need to sell this a little bit. Chris Pine. I mean, come on, listen. He's probably one of the best looking guys, actors that are out there. Who played Spock? Quentin something, right? Then you have
I can't think of his name, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're all good looking.
It's always Aldana.
Yeah, I mean, very, very, very good looking people. So I get that. I won't deny that's the truth as well. All right, so Taylor, we will be back in a couple weeks. We will be starting season 16. And what we'll be doing first when we talk is, first of all, I have a player in mind that I'm going to bring back to the Power Play Post Show. And that's the only clue I'm going to give you right now, is that it's going to be somebody that we're bringing back to the Power Play Post Show. And we are going to talk about all the news that came out last week that we didn't talk about because we talked about the schedule, because the schedule is huge. It's one of the big news makers of anything. But there was a lot of other stuff that came out, And Taylor and I will break all that down for you in a couple weeks. Okay, so Taylor, glad you had a vacation, but now it's back time to go back to work. Did you work today at all?
No, I did not. I start going back to work tomorrow.
Oh man,
I'm not really looking forward to it.
I'm gonna say you're so screwed. You are so behind. Like you take 5 days off and like you're screwed for the next 2.5 weeks.
Oh, trust me, I know. I'm not really looking forward to it because I'm sure all of my stores are very angry that I have not been around. So I can only imagine what I'm about to walk into. I'm
glad you enjoyed your vacation. I'm glad you came back. I'm glad we got this this show done. And all right, I'll get into the must reads. The Power Play Post is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Because I don't just tell you to, Taylor does as well. Just saying. Join the conversation on Facebook, search for Power Play Post Show, and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey, visit binghamtonhockey.net. Thank you to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears broadcaster and director of media relations, Brooks Hill. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you guys in a couple weeks right here on the debut of season 16 of the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.